one thing I did want to talk about is DJing. Why did you want to be a DJ?
So initially, when the pandemic first began and when everything shut down and I lost my outlet to go to festivals and to see live music, I wanted to create my own version of that. So, like, I always wanted to, and like ever since I started going to festivals, like I've always had an interest in it and I've always wanted to eventually get into it. But I felt like at that time, it was the right time to start doing it. And my friend Dylan, he's been a DJ like 3 years before I started, and he had a deck that he was trying to sell like the same time that I was trying to find a deck. So I went down to Richmond and then he showed me like all the basics when I first bought it from him. And then after that, since we were all locked down, couldn't do anything for the next like three or so months, like until probably I want to say like May or June, I just went ham and I posted a mix every week
Okay.
because I didn't like, I made it a thing for myself in that time period to post a video or a mix at least once a week.
hmm
So since I didn't have anything else to do, I just used all that energy that was pent up. Like I want to see live music. Like this is my passion. This is what I do, to doing it myself and to having some other version of it. So that was the initial drive that got me into it. And then while I was in that phase during COVID, I didn't even think about the possibility of playing live for people because that wasn't an option. And I was just doing it more so as a hobby, as self-expression and just having fun with it. But then my mixes got sort of popular on SoundCloud and and a lot of people fuck with it. So my first opportunity was to DJ Troy's birthday party,
Oh,
which was still during like not the lockdown, like it was right when shit was starting to open up slowly. But when he had that party, he got a lot of flack from people being like, yo, this is too early. Like you shouldn't have a party right now. But it was also in Virginia too. So I feel like people up there weren't as open to having gatherings yet.
definitely not.
But yeah, that was the first time I got a chance to play for people live and it was a lot of fun. And then after that, I moved to Florida a month later. And then I didn't get my first official gig until it was November of this past year. So almost a year ago. And what happened is I met this guy at an after party who was a manager for a few DJs in Jacksonville. And we were the last two people at the party because they had a house DJ play. I think he wasn't the main promoter for that event, but he was there and then he hosted the after party at his house. So once everyone left, it was like 5 in the morning and I was still just like lit in there. And then me and him were just on the decks kind of fucking around. He's like, wait, so do you actually DJ? I'm like, yeah. And then I sent him my SoundCloud and we kind of talked a little bit. And then the next day he peeps all my mixes. He's like, yo, dude, you're actually fire as fuck. I'm gonna put you on. And then a month later, he got me booked for my first show. And then he was my official manager actually
Whoa.
for like 5 months. And I did, I think, a total of 5 shows under him. And then my most recent show was through another promoter slash manager who actually runs the club that I played at. So yeah, my last show was about a month ago now and don't have any more planned because I'm more focused on the fitness right now and it still is sick, but like I was sort of briefing at last night, it's like when you get gigs at an official club, at least in Jacksonville and like where I play, the promoters and the people who book you want you to be an aspiring DJ. And if you're not producing, if you're not actively showing that you want it to be something consistent for you, then you're not going to get booked because there's so many other people that make their own music and that are really taking it seriously that want those gigs too. So since I already have a foundation and I have gigs there, I could keep on playing, but I'm just unsure of if it's fair to the other people who actually want this shit and want to get their name out there. And I'm just taking the spotlight from them But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they have a lot of shows there, like pretty much every week. So it wouldn't really be a big deal if I just had one slot here and there just to do it. But yeah, I just feel like I chose fitness as my direction because I feel like fitness and also music are like the two things I care most about in life. But I'm going the fitness direction because I feel like it's more scalable and I like being active. I like being outdoors. I just like feeling fit. I also like music, but I don't like the aspect of the learning process as far as how to produce and and just how patient you have to be. And it's such a rigorous process to learn the basics of a whole DAW, which is
Mhm.
an audio workstation. And it would probably take me like 2 years of me being fully invested, focused to create a song that I would be somewhat happy with. And it's like, do
Mhm.
I really want to put myself through all that time just to like realize it's not for me? Because I don't like being in front of computers or screens. Like, I don't like having to sit in one place, which is why the whole fitness thing is also better for me. But that's pretty much why I'm now shifting gears and it just feels more right that way.
Yeah, man, it blows my mind that like between this weekend and our last like actual podcast session, because like we've done some the last couple nights, but like it was like a year and a half ago, I think, is when we did the one called Motivation. Remember?
Yeah.
Um, and like it's crazy to me that at that point in time, being a DJ was still kind of like a dream.
Because I didn't get, yeah,
Like I
I
think
hadn't got my first gig yet.
you must have
Still,
done Troy's birthday, but not
that
like
was the only thing I did up until that
but
point.
that's like a friend's birthday. Like I still didn't
Not,
think of you as a DJ, you know? And it's
yeah,
crazy to me that like you went through a whole like DJ phase where you were actually performing and like you like if I had interviewed you at that moment, you were gonna be like, yo, this is what I'm doing with my life. You know what I'm saying? But
and
now that like
yeah,
now you've already gotten to the point where you're like actually calisthenics and like fitness is like my new like my main thing. I don't know, it's just crazy to me, first of all, that like you just had that whole phase. But since I understand fitness is like the focal point now, but this is still the best time for me to like interview you about that phase. So like what did it feel like to be up on stage performing and like what I mean, that's gotta be a dream come true. Like I feel like
it
you needed to go
it
explore that.
is,
You needed to
yeah,
go explore that experience, like in order to know
but
that fitness was the right thing. So like
yeah.
what the fuck did that feel like? You know? Like how was that?
Well, my first couple shows, it was like the side terrace stage of a main club.
Uh-huh.
So it was like maybe 20, 30 people. And it was more so people are just there kind of talking to each other and then also like having moments where they're vibing out to the music, but it's not like they're there focused on me the whole time. So
Okay.
like I'm not in the background. It's like it's the main thing going on, but
Mm.
it's more just like social. People are talking. And I was also on somewhat early too. But those didn't really feel like what I envisioned it to feel like.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I first got up there, I was for sure pretty nervous. And my first set was pretty good. I just went into it free. I didn't really have a plan for it, and it all turned out well. But as I got into getting the bigger shows, it was definitely crazier because I had a lot more freedom as far as what I could play, and I could structure the set how I wanted to, and just let my vibe shine through
Mhm.
the way I would want it to. So
And people were like
playing,
actually feeling it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're playing at like an official club that has like a really good sound system, and you have lasers, lights, LED screens, and shit, and like it's like the full experience.
Yeah.
So it feels crazy to be that guy like up there. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I would always feel like I would just want there to be more people, or like I would always be eager for like just people who are into specifically my vibe, because when you are DJing and you are seeing what the crowd like how they're responding to it, like there's some people that are, some people that aren't, but then I'll be up there just wishing like if only the right people were here to like make to kind of elevate the whole crowd. And like,
Mhm.
if a majority was like going crazy, most other people would too. Kind of like at the club that we were at last night,
Mhm.
because only a few people were vibing to it, and it just made it so like the whole crowd energy was kind of like not really there because a majority wasn't vibing. So, I mean, but for me, like in most cases, like most people are vibing, but since I'm on earlier usually, no one's lit enough to just be going crazy and having a good ass time. They're all just kind of like slight dancing but like not just like going crazy the way I would want it to. But like if I was on an hour or two later, like at my last set, I was on at 9 to 10:30, and then the next guy, like the energy was just higher because he probably had twice as many people as I did, and people were more fucked up. So when that happens, it's easier for like the whole crowd to just gain this collective energy. But
Mhm.
when you play early, it's hard to really feel that. So when I'm up there, I get the thoughts like, damn, like I wish I was on later. Like I wish I could have a better crowd type shit because I'm always eager for more. But yeah, at the same time, it's crazy, it's fun, but
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring up the club from last night because it honestly didn't seem that fun to be that DJ. Like the people there weren't dancing enough where it's like,
and
I don't know, it just seemed like like I've seen DJs come to like my fraternity and stuff and like no one just was a bad night and just like it just seems not fun to be there on that night for sure. Like and or like you were saying, like being the secondary guy. You know what I'm saying? Like being not the main guy, and then people are just like there to get a break from the main event when they're in your room. So automatically you're like stuck in like a position of earning their trust instead of like, oh, they already expect you to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you're just like already at a handicap or something, like
yeah,
at a default. It just sounds like a struggle. But I'm glad you got at least a couple shows where like
yeah.
you were the main guy, like you were the main character, everyone was there to see you type shit. Like
And I think I'm still gonna
keep
try.
I would rather get 5 minutes on like being the main guy at the right time than having an hour being the side
Or
guy.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
5 minutes
uh,
of that,
yeah, I think so too, actually.
right?
Yeah,
And then you can really probably enjoy the rest of the night too if you're just doing like a 10, 15-minute set.
yeah. But I think I'm still gonna try to get a few gigs if I can, because through the last guy that I got the show with, he's the manager for the whole club. So if there's anything coming up, I can just, I mean, like I had a good set too, so I'm sure he'd want me to play again. So
I feel like you should. Like it
I mean,
kind of hurts my
just
heart
for
a little
fun.
bit to see you not give up on this dream, but not be as excited about it as you were a couple months ago. Like, you know, I don't know. Like I feel like you should keep trying to do it in some capacity. I know that like you're not as committed as the other
Yeah,
guys, so it feels odd, but like dude, I just feel like if you get good, specifically if you get good at doing one like good set, like you should be able to like make like a couple $100 on the weekends just doing this like as like a side hustle
yeah,
and like
that's true.
just like get really good at your one set. Like, you know, you don't have to be you can just fill a specific niche, you know what I'm saying? That people want. And like
Yeah.
whenever like what is your sound? Like what would you describe it as?
Bro, it's been changing a lot. God damn. Yeah, so
Then you
I
need to be evolving.
actually, yeah, funnily enough, my manager and I split ways because he's focused on dubstep, and that's like, so he only manages people who are producing and also DJing dubstep. And then that's what I was like originally I wanted to only do dubstep and then also have a few other things kind of mixed in, but the primary part of my set would always be dub. And then I'm not sure if you know Hardwell. You probably
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So Hardwell,
I love
he
hardball.
he played at Ultra for the first time. So he had a 4 to 5 year hiatus where he didn't tour, he didn't make
Really?
music, he just took a complete break. And then he came to Ultra for his first set in 4 or 5 years, and
Wow.
he had a whole new album ready. He played the whole album at Ultra,
Ooh.
and
Was it sick?
I actually played a few songs from it,
Okay.
yeah, this trip already. But so his new sound is like hybrid because he used to be just all big room, and now what's getting more popular is just straight techno. But his new sound is mixing big room and techno into the same.
Mhm.
And when I first, so I watched it live on the live stream, and when I first heard it, dude, I was just like, dude, this is the future. This sounds so right. It's such a good mix. Like it just sounds amazing. And the fact that he's starting it, like he's starting a revolution of this new sound because he's like one of the biggest DJs.
Mhm.
Something okay, like I should hop on this train because I love it so much. And if I were to produce it, I feel like I'll be able to be pretty creative with it, and I would sound so different than anyone else that it would really help me. So like right after his set, I got super inspired for like a month, and like I wanted to go that route. I was like, oh, And then I told my manager, I was like, yo, bro, like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to just go full techno now. And then,
And he was like, yeah,
yeah,
you're done. You're done.
yeah. And then he's like, bro, and I mean, like, he got kind of mad at me actually.
Really?
Yeah. And then like,
Explain.
because
Spill the tea, bro.
I mean, it's something of a deal, but he just thought I was fully committed to wanting to be on his team and like start actually producing. And actually made me delete or archive all of my IG content and only have it be me DJing or like some post about,
Really?
yeah.
I didn't notice that.
So I did that for like a month.
So
And
you got rid of all the fitness stuff, basically.
well, I had like 4 or 5 posts. No, I think I had 5 or 6 posts total. 4 of them were DJing, and then one was like Okeechobee,
Okay.
which is also like on brand. But and then I don't think I had any fitness. Yeah. So, but like that was before I did fitness. It was like a month before I got into fitness. So he made me archive all my shit. And so for like a month, I was actually like trying to like do that. And then I told him, I was like, yo, like I got super inspired. I know this is like really out of the blue and spontaneous, but like I really do feel like I'm like, if I am going to do this, it has to be techno because creating dubstep is so complex. There's so much competitiveness, like
Yeah.
so many underground artists that are so talented that have like created like amazing sounds and are like have so much potential that it's oversaturated. And for one to be harder to learn to do that, and two, it's oversaturated, so it'd be harder to stand out. Whereas techno, it's not that popular in the US yet. And if I were to make a new version of techno, I just feel like it would be kind of easier to produce. I would have more fulfillment doing it because it's more core to me than it is dubstep. And I feel like I could just bring a new wave, something that's just new and different.
Yeah.
So my heart was in techno, and then I told him, and then he was like, all right, bro, like I'm still down to help you out and like find you the right people to get you connected with, but I can't manage you if you're not going to be like on that dubstep train. So I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, I just want to go with this. And then for a little while after that, I was still focused on wanting to actually make techno and shit. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought about being in front of a computer all day. And along that same time frame is when I quit drinking and got more into fitness. So like,
And then you're just like,
so then like naturally I just felt more inclined, and it was easier to just post fitness content whenever I could, as opposed to like sitting on my computer all day trying to learn this that I can't put anything out to the world for years, like
mhm.
until I'm like actually good.
So is
Yeah.
it fair to say like you like DJing, but you don't like producing? Like you don't like
Well,
you
see,
don't like the actual
I
creating
just,
of the music.
no, like I just haven't given myself a fair shot at it because I'm so like, it's so daunting to me.
It's like a big learning curve.
Like, I just
Yeah.
don't even want to like put myself in there. Like I've dabbled a few times, but like I just get so annoyed. Like I hate tedious shit on the computer, like in any way
Yeah.
related to technology. I just hate doing tedious shit, bro. It's just not like, I like feeling alive, bro.
That's how like it is for my app. It's like I care about the fitness, but like in order to get the app that I want, it like requires like going through all the bullshit, like all of just like the fixing bugs and shit. And then sometimes you forget like what you're even doing, and you're just like, I don't fucking care about this computer bug. Like I care about fitness, but I've extrapolated so many times away from what I care about that I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Which is why I've taken big breaks from the app at times. Like I'll never give up on it, but if you notice, like I just won't work on it for a year. Like it's just like sometimes you need to take a step back.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready to return. I've been telling you like I have a software job again, but like I had to take big breaks from that type of work, bro. It gets tedious
Yeah.
and I just had to get in shape too. I just like this is keeping me out of shape, which is the whole point, is to build an app that gets
Exactly,
you in
right?
shape. I'm just like, no, I can't fucking handle it,
Yeah.
bro. You know, you can't handle it sometimes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, dude, I get that. So, but can you just like be like, why can't you just like
It's
be
like,
really good at
I
creating a live, like a set, like a
I
playlist
can, but it's just,
and the light?
it's in the context of where I perform. Like it's competitive, and people are always trying to get gigs that are working on their music. Like I
But
said, but like I could always branch out to other places too.
Here's the thing that I think that they go hand in hand. Creating music and performing the music are like obviously like such hand in hand. And of course, if you're like an artist that creates music, you're like you're special and you're going to be good at playing it. But isn't there like a little, like, people who make their own music, they always want to play their own fucking music live. You know what I'm saying? And most people are not the best 1% in the world at making music. You know what I'm saying? And so isn't there some benefit of just having a DJ who strictly plays other people's music? Because then you're not always trying to like show off your new shit that you just made that's like still you're testing and like figuring it out. Like, can't like, isn't there a benefit of just having a DJ's DJ, not
It
like
just
a
depends on
producer DJ?
it depends on the context of the venue and the situation. Like,
Yeah.
because if you're playing at a club that only plays EDM, like they want to book acts that have their own music. Like that's a baseline. That's a standard of how it is, how you get booked. Because when people look at your profile and what you have, they, okay, cool. He has a few mixes, but where's his own music? Like it adds so much to you, to your entire portfolio. Like it makes you complete. And like, that's how the promoters, that's how all the managers see it. So, but there is, like you said, there is a niche for just a good DJ that plays other people's music, but that's more in the context of a bar. That's not trying, you know what I mean? Like that, where people just want to go just to like get drunk as fucking have fun and just hear bangers all night. Like that exists, but that doesn't exist at the club that I get booked at. And it's the only club in Jacksonville that plays EDM. So that's like, I could try to branch out to other places, but if there's not a primarily EDM crowd, it wouldn't work as well. And I don't really have any interest in like playing mainstream, like of like a bar set, just like,
Yeah.
you know, and like I don't have that kind of inspiration, but I could do it just to make money off of it. But like, it's not really me. And I want to, and
Yeah.
if I'm going to be performing, I don't want to be like that guy at the first bar last night. It's just like, like
just playing like Meek Mill and like
fucking 2-minute build up with no beat, like what the and bad transitions. But
no, you're right. Like you're in between the two worlds, because like in college, Sabrina and I, we used to just get up there and play like the aux chord, and we were so good, but mostly because we were just willing to play what people want. Like we would take requests and we would like kind of read the crowd and be like, the crowd likes this artist or this type of music, and just kind of read the crowd. And like we weren't there to be like a DJ who's like, I know best. We were there to just kind of like funnel the energy into the playlist that we were playing, you know? And I feel like you could have a side hustle on the weekend doing that, basically, where you could get booked for like we could easily play like weddings. Like me and Sabrina could easily play weddings. Like there's just like a playlist. You could probably find it on Spotify and just get up there and just like put it on, you know? Like you could do that too, but then you're not like putting your own EDM style. You're playing like Crank That Soulja Boy.
What people want to hear.
And you're playing like,
but then I'm mixing in my own style as well. But I'm making sure that I'm giving the people what they want primarily, and then hinting at my own shit here and there that would blend in well. That way I can still portray my energy and my vibe.
You don't want to just go play Buttercup, baby.
Bro, like, nah, bro.
Yeah, no, that's not. But what about a remix? Buttercup, baby, 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 baby.
The only thing I would
drop
play,
the bass, boy, bam, 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 bam. You know?
But what I would do is have fuego, fire, fire, and then have that be a build up into a drop.
Fuego, fuego, fire, fire, fuego, fuego, caliente, caliente.
La playa.
Hey, la playa. So me and Dan, I think we talked about it actually on one of the past podcasts. So
I think, oh yeah, we did last time.
We like Bad Bunny now.
Bad Bunny is the GOAT. Next topic.
But next topic, for sure. For sure, man. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I feel like you're saying, specifically in Jacksonville, there's this one club and whatever. Like, I feel like you should still keep it as a hobby, because maybe you'll move, like, you might not live in Jacksonville forever, and like you might go into like a new area, and like just there's a right situation for you to go there and play the set you like every week.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like here there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
Play in like smaller clubs that like people want to just hear fun shit, but they also want to hear EDM too. And it's not like, because there's so many bars and clubs here that like
think about the club from last night. Like that might not have been the funnest thing in the world, like compared to being like committing your whole life to this, you know what I'm saying? But Like, what if
Like,
that guy made like $400?
like
What if that guy made like $400? Like, he probably did.
more because the cover fee.
Yeah, probably like 600. So like,
But I feel like I could probably get booked there, like actually,
actually, yeah,
if
yeah.
I wanted to.
I mean,
But
that guy
that's
definitely.
in Miami.
I don't think that guy makes that music he was playing. Do you? I don't think
It's
so.
possible. I mean, I'll just see his name. But see, but what also made me sad about last night is that for that kind of set, he was playing tech house, but like deep, like really deep tech house, which is like catered to EDM. Like no one can really fuck with that kind of house if you're not into it.
Yeah, I was not vibing.
Because there's like house that's likable and that's mainstream, but then there's like deeper house that like puts you in more of a flow state. And like he was playing that kind of set.
Yeah.
So with that kind of set, you need everyone to be on board.
Yeah.
It's so critical because that makes the whole experience. So that's what made me sad, like not seeing that many people going into it. But damn, yeah.
Let's talk about all the different genres of like electronica music because there's so many like
It's my bread and butter,
so, like,
bro.
let's start. There's deep house, right? And that's just like, how would you explain that? Like in layman's terms, just like long builds with like big, like paced out like punches. Like I don't know, how do you describe it? Because I don't know how to.
Okay. I'm trying to think of an artist you might know that makes deep house. No, you probably don't. I mean, do you know Lane 8?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So deep house. Okay. It's usually the same BPM. So standard house or like mainstream house is like 125 to 128, sometimes 130 BPM.
Okay.
Deep house is probably like 126 to 122 range. So so for one, it's a bit slower.
Okay.
And it's a lot more progressive because like any mainstream house will be like a 3-minute long song. Like,
yeah.
Off rip. But
deep house is like 7.
Deep house like 6-7 minutes, and it's patient. Like you can feel feel the sounds coming, and they just like transition in slowly.
I was getting kind of bored, to be honest.
See, but me like I was really fucking with it because I fuck with the flow, and I fucked with like having to patiently wait for the drop that's coming, and like the builds can be like emotional and like heartfelt, and just like make you just feel some type of way. Like any deep house, like it has deep meaning to it, and if you enter a flow state, and if you're in the vibe, like you'll know what I'm talking about. But in most cases, like some have lyrics, some don't, but it just makes you feel something. Like whereas mainstream house, you just want to dance, like hey, sick drop. But with deep house, it's more like hey, this is just like
yeah. It was like a slower, like more meditate. It was like more meditative. Yeah, more meditative.
But it's sick.
Yeah, I could like work to like I could like sit down and like work at my laptop to a deep house, like or like literally meditate to it or like do something like chill to it. But I don't know, like on the dance floor, I just kind of like I was having a hard time like moving to it the right way,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you just need to be like you need to have it in you. You need to be able to understand it. And I feel like if you see it in the proper format, which wasn't last night, but like in the proper way, and if you're in the right headspace for it too, then I feel like you would just understand it. I mean, kind of with all EDM, like whenever someone is like thinking about going to their first festival, they're not sure. It's like, oh, I kind of like this music. It's all right. Like, I'm not sure if I could vibe to it. But then when like 80% of people go to the first festival, they're like, holy shit, now I understand what this shit's like. But it's the same thing with like any genre. If you just like open your mind to it, and if you're in the right format, the right headspace, then you can easily get there and then just have an understanding for it.
Okay, tell me about like the other categories, like dubstep. Start listing them off, and like
deep house is a subordinate of just house.
Yeah,
house has many other subcategories too.
Okay,
so I don't know if I even want to. This is gonna be like a 5-hour long podcast.
That's fine.
Talking about just genres, but okay, so tech house is kind of like deep house, so his set from last time was a mixture of deep and tech house.
Okay.
I would say tech house is like deep house, except it's not as deep.
Facts, my guy. Say less.
Okay, now so tech house. Okay, I would say tech house is right in the middle between deep house and mainstream house because it has like the groove and like the fun nature of mainstream, Yeah, the patience and flow of deep.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it. I like the word flow. As long as you keep saying flow when you describe stuff, I like it.
Go.
Yeah.
And then, okay, Big Room House is Hardwell, just anthem. Put your fucking hands up. Da 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 da. Like,
Bah, 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 bah. Bah, 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 bah.
that is Big Room. That is
Okay.
classic, and that was my favorite genre, which it still kind of is actually.
Kind of fucks, bro.
Yeah, bro. It's just energy. It's what you want at a festival, but now everyone's more into bass and tech house. Well, okay, so that's Big Room, and then Progressive House is kind of like, it's like a shorter version of Deep House, except when the drop comes, it's more epic and just like, it's uplifting house. So that would be like Avicii-ish, Swedish House Mafia. Don't you worry, child. So it's like Big Room energy, but it's more uplifting, and like it has like kind of corny lyrics to it too. So yeah. So it's like that kind. It's like Big Room light.
Okay.
And okay, outside of house, I'll just switch to another genre.
Big Room light.
Diet Big Room.
Diet Big Room.
And if you want to go into dubstep, so that's gotten a lot more popular. I feel like it reached its peak popularity in a radio sense back when Skrillex first popped off. But now in a live context, it's peaking. So right now, dubstep can be broken into rhythm, which is like just choppy, fast paced, like just like straight. Yeah. So it's like the same sound in like certain variations, but it's just like straight up dubstep, just like aggressive, like violent vertical chops.
Cool. I like that. You should give some like vocal sample of like each genre.
Yeah.
I'll remember it. Rhythm.
So that's rhythm. And then there's bro step, which is Skrillex style.
Wait, bro step is a real like category?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
So bro step is like Skrillex style, where he'll have like a lot of sounds being used throughout the drop, and they're like crazy. Like they go from like one range to another range, and it's like more like free dubstep. And then rhythm is a mixture of bro step and rhythm.
Oh,
which is what's like kind of popular now, because you get like the sharp energy, just direct energy of the rhythm with the more free aspects with bro step into one. So it makes it just like heavy as fuck, but also like crazy.
Can you give me an example? Dubstep drop versus like a rhythm drop?
Do you mean bro step versus
like like give me
actually
give me a
Ray
sample, bro.
So Ray Volpe has a song called Battle of the Bros, and so in each drop is its own sub genre of dubstep. So one is bro step, one is rhythm, then one's rhythm.
Oh, cool. Battle of the Bros.
So I can actually show you that after.
Okay,
kind of funny. But so yeah, that's like the heavy side of dubstep: bro step, rhythm, and then there's deep wubs. Deep wubs would be LS Dream, which I asked you about the other day.
I haven't heard of them.
Yeah. So LS Dream, like, so there's deep wubs, and then there's like freeform bass, which is like an even deeper version of the deep wubs. So that's like what Blur's into. Blur's into like freeform, like experimental bass. That's like down the rabbit hole. Like,
what's the artist that he was?
Tipper.
So
okay, I mean, but like he's his own thing. That's like experimental, but it's, I don't even know. Like I don't even know if that's even music, bro. Honestly.
I don't even know if that's music, bro.
It's just like, it just sounds like watery sounds. Like,
honestly, do you know who Papadozio is?
Yeah.
I feel like that artist was like in their own lane of its own, where it's like, it was like jam band mixed with like techno, mixed with like psychedelic trip artist. Like I couldn't even put that band in a box if I wanted to, bro. I guess jam band would be the title, but like
would be the overview,
but like
not so many other things.
It was so many things, bro. It was a whole experience, bro. My God, Papadozio.
But yeah, so you can go deep into the wubs and be like Lur, who's just into like the really experimental, like just fucking like, so like your mind's not even on this physical plane
It's-
type shit anymore.
We gotta listen to some Tipper now. Now I'm like, my interest is peaked, bro. Like, I feel like, okay, isn't there like two big like genres, like in the biggest macro view of like electronic and dance? Like, is that fair to say that at the highest level, those are the two genres?
What?
Electronic music and dance music.
Of what? What's the
Then there's subcategories to each of
but
those.
electronic dance music is the genre. Electronic dance music.
No, but like
EDM.
house is like dance music and like dubstep is like electronic music.
Okay,
You see what I'm
well,
saying?
Yeah, but they're
Like if you
also-
go into like Apple Music and Spotify, there will be a dance category and then there will be like electronic category.
I mean, I feel like dance is just mainstream EDM, and then electronic is all EDM.
Okay.
Yeah, like
So dance is just mainstream EDM?
yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
I thought dance would be more like house.
Dance it is like pop EDM.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So yeah, just like mainstream house, shit like that.
What are the other subgenres then that like
Okay.
we haven't discussed?
There's a lot.
Well, let's get it. Like,
Okay.
I don't have anything else to talk about.
So drum and bass. Do you know anything about that?
No.
What, really?
I mean, I've heard the name.
DMB. So who's an artist you might Subfocus maybe?
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure you've heard songs. Actually, The Weeknd's, like, he has a few songs that have a DMB format. It's like, so it's like very fast, and
Okay.
there's always an extra kick.
Okay.
So it's like that kind of format, and that's getting a lot more popular in the U.S. It's pretty popular over in Europe, but it's starting to get a lot more traction here too. And that's kind of like in the bass category too, because a lot of bass festivals have DMB stages.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool.
So my favorite subcategory is like Flume, Odessa, Pretty
Okay,
Lights. What
that is chill wave.
chill wave. That's my shit.
Chill wave / future bass.
So like as time went on and like I started going to less shows, which I do want to go to shows again more, I like naturally gravitated away from the dubstep and just like more towards the I can always vibe with the ambient shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I listened to like the new Odessa album. I'm listening to that like 100 times in a
Yeah,
row, bro. It's actually really good.
It's really good.
It's so good. Flume, I still keep a tabs on him, although he's gotten experimental and weird.
Yeah.
Really weird. I don't
Got
know.
it. See, I
don't like the
I
new-
commend
yeah.
him for like doing
Me too. Yeah.
all these
I always respect it.
because it's like it's in a pop, like he has a lot of pop vocalists, and like
Yeah.
he's made it like likable for the mainstream, yet it features a lot of weird sounds and like
It's
just
not like the
unconventional formatting.
the first album of his is actually maybe my favorite album of all time.
Me too.
I think that Purple album, not the deluxe
Oh,
version, just
yeah,
the
yeah,
Purple
yeah.
albums, just straight through that,
too.
because we had never heard anything like that, and that to me is what created the genre of chill step.
Yes.
Chill
Yeah.
dubstep. It was like hip hop beats mixed with dubstep vibes, but chilled out
Yeah.
in a way that we'd never. And then that, I think that album,
whole revolution.
that whole album created a million subgenres from its own, because then
Yeah.
you get like future pop and like chill hits and like weird
Future bass is like
future vibes. Yeah.
a derivative.
Chill.
of Flume.
I think Odessa's whole style is a derivative from Flume, like as well. Like personally,
in its own way, but they're very distinct from one another.
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
true.
But they're also like similar
vibes.
but,
Yeah.
like very different at the same.
And I just kind of always wanted to make Flume to keep making like albums like that, and like that's why I like Odessa more at this point, because Odessa did keep making albums just like that, and they sound great. They sound so good. But then like his next album, he experimented with like a couple pop hits, which was cool too. It was like, you know, the Tovlov hit
Yeah.
single and like that. But then since then, he's gotten so experimental, and I respect it. But I'm also like, this is not the artist I fell in love with.
Yeah,
And like I respect that you're trying new stuff, but like I kind of just wish
not the same.
it's
though.
not as polished as like this other thing. There was like a flaw, like the Purple album is like flawless.
Yeah.
Like I just wish he would make like Odessa continues to make flawless projects.
I hope
and,
he
like-
returns back to that. Hopefully, Flume.
Yeah, because there was a point. If you asked me 7 years ago, I'd be like, Flume is my favorite artist of all time.
Yeah.
But that's he only had one album. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And now I'm just like, I don't think, even though it's still my favorite album, I don't think I could say that.
yeah. No,
I think
yeah.
that's better than all three Odessa albums. But I'm like, Odessa goat.
Consistent.
He's my goat now. He's my new goat.
They
Is he a they?
2 people.
Oh, okay. I thought he was like trans, but he's just two people.
Yeah, it's a duo.
Oh, okay. Well, they are sick.
Yes, sir. Okay,
But
so
what are they called? All the subgenres within that.
it I mean, there's not like there's just the overview of it being chill wave, but then future bass, and then their new album, Odessa's new album, has a lot of house, but it's chill wave house.
Yeah.
It's like melodic house almost. So that's like, I mean, they kind of created that too.
There's an artist called Big something.
Big gigantic
No.
funk.
Fuck. I almost want to look this up. I'm sorry. Keep talking.
I'm trying to think. Big, just big G. But yeah. So I feel like that's probably the most outside of just mainstream house and dance EDM. That's like the most popular type of EDM too. Just anything chill, like Odessa Flume type.
Think Big Wild.
Big Wild, okay.
Yeah.
Big Wild is
I like
kind of like alternative EDM.
Really?
Yeah, because he has a live performance every time, and he has real instrumentation
Yeah.
in his songs.
Well, isn't that like Grizz has a sax? Like, isn't that its own live instrumentation is got to be a genre of EDM too, right?
I mean, Grizz, now, like I told you earlier before this podcast, he's going more in the bass nectar rally. Like he's more like just making bangers and like a lot of bass hits. But yeah, back when he still was on the sax live, but I feel like his core sound was just funk EDM, just funk.
Funk EDM.
Funk. Yeah.
Remember the Floozies?
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know what happened to them. Tyler put me onto them back in the day. That to me, funky, groovy shit, that's got to be its own.
Yeah.
The funk, bro.
It's just called funk. I'm pretty sure.
But it's such a clusterfuck of like a genre because everyone does funky shit. Everyone does chill shit. Everyone does house. Like, you know what I'm saying? It all touches each other in a weird way. But then again, it doesn't, because then your one like manager was like, no, you got to do EDM. You got to do dubstep. So it matters. You know what I'm saying? I feel like once you get to a certain level of an artist, though, you can just start
do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can mix in anything.
Once you have, yeah.
That would be so much fun, bro, just to be like fucking Hardwell or like someone at the top of the game, Dylan Francis or someone.
Dylan Francis, bro. Fuck yeah.
I'm saying you could do whatever. Okay. You could do whatever you wanted, though. He could get any pop star on a song. He could test out any genre. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just the world is your oyster. Not, specifically him is be one.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've seen a lot of artists do that. And that's why Hardwell went the route he did, because he said he just got sick of making the same stuff all the time and wanted to evolve his sound. And then the intro to his album is like a 3-minute acapella of him talking. And at the end, he's like, now I'm going to show you who I truly am. And then the first song starts right after.
That's kind of sick.
Because he said that that whole album is actually what he's been wanting to make the whole time.
Oh,
like that is actually his.
I got to check this out.
Yeah, bro. It's sick.
See, that's why I feel like you should be encouraged to go techno for a couple months. You know what I'm saying? Or like pursue it forever, or change your mind. Like, kind of sucks that someone was trying to like keep you in a box. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but I mean, he's also a newer manager, and he just wants to have his shit right. You know what I mean?
It's probably good advice too, in a certain way, as far as like, yo, you want to do this right now and make money, like, but I, as your friend and as just like in life, I feel like you should be pursuing whatever in that moment you're vibing with, and just pursue that thing hard as fuck, because that's where your heart's telling you to go. And like, this could branch out to some more general advice, but I just feel like in life, obviously you have your job and you can't just like stop doing your job immediately sometimes, like you got bills to pay and shit, but like, man, life works so much better when you do get the opportunities to just pursue that thing on a whim, that like, you're just like, you know what, fuck it, I want to do this, like, and you just go for it and like spend a whole weekend, just going hard as fuck in some direction, and then maybe you just don't even ever do that again. Like, I got super into puzzles for like a month, bro. I had like a whole Instagram highlight reel of puzzles, bro, and I was like, puzzles. But like, you know what? Life is better. Like, now I don't do puzzles anymore, but like, life is better when you're hyped as fuck about something. I don't know. It just is, man.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we already touched on that at the first podcast a little bit. Just always having some kind of mission, always having a purpose that you're going after. But yeah, I mean, I still want to give it a real shot at some point and like see if I have it in me to produce and seeing, because like I really just want to make my own music because I feel like I would, since I'm so in touch with every genre, I like all like actually all EDM. So I feel like I could create some pretty sick shit, but it's just a matter of having that fortitude in me to just lock down and do it. But right now, like I said, focus is the fitness, but I really do like once I get solidified more, I want to actually give it a real shot because I've been saying for a long time that I've wanted to. So it's like, I just need to at some point when the time's right.
The worlds need to combine, bro. You need to make
I was thinking
specific-
about making music for my fitness shit.
Yeah, you should be making like I actually have some Drive Fitness playlists on Spotify.
Kind of like Frank with the intro.
Yeah, that too.
But like,
Yeah.
yeah, but just making like kind of simple, but like clean beats, not like full on songs, but like beats just put in the background type shit.
Yeah.
Like that would be really cool because it's still my own touch,
Yeah.
you know?
No, also, so up until this point on TikTok, like a good way to go viral has been to like use someone else's sound. So like if my song goes viral, you can hop on it and stuff like that. And like recently too, they say that like you have a better chance of going viral with the original sound too, because it's kind of like,
Other people can use it.
yeah, I think just as more people use TikTok, like it's just they're trying to promote more and more of like the content creator, like independent guy, like not someone who like they don't want to promote people who are just like riding trends, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
they want people who are making original content, not just people who are like, because you're not really adding anything to the platform if you're just like doing a trend.
Yeah.
So I think the type of content that you and me make, like original podcasts, original like fitness content, is actually going to be better than someone who's just like on every trend in the long run. And that like the more that you are original, I think the better it's actually going to be for you in the long run. So creating your own music and stuff will be good. You know what I'm saying? Also, like if you have a video with your original song there, like I think this is where your head was going at first, like people could take now like, oh, he did a good job. Like I'm going to use that sound for my inspirational video too. And so maybe like if your songs are unique enough, like you can start waves, you know?
Yes, sir. Damn.
It's simple. It's simple. Making music for the fitness content. It's like,
And
it's
yeah,
because it falls under your fitness content umbrella, which is now your like main focal point, but it still lets you tap into like what you know, like,
and also being able to express other passions I have within the main focal. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty sick.
it's important too, because like one of the coolest things I feel like that you did yesterday was we were filming the Muscle Beach content, and then they were playing Bad Bunny. Maybe we talked about this already, but then we heard it at Muscle Beach, and then Dan put it on the video of him like promoting Muscle Beach, and therefore it's like we actually captured the energy and the sound of what it actually sounded like to be there, because people were playing Bad Bunny there. So I just feel like it's so important that whatever you do play in the background to your fitness videos is like so significant and important, and like it just it creates a whole energy, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah.
That, and like the more you are like the engineer, the director, like the designer of your videos, the more you can design every aspect, the more of like an original, like
Exactly.
just content creator you are.
That's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find that balance and find like what type of content really inspires me and how I can be different from the rest. And I'm starting to figure it out, but I just want to create content that makes people feel something. And I've kind of like dabbled in just like emotional shit with like some kind of like like I want to have like minor motivation, just like shit that's not like over the top, like you could do it, like one more rep type shit, but just more so like something sentimental with like a chill background tune or like a chill EDM track that can like supplement just some like sentimental value to like just working out, fitness, and like seeing all the background shit. Like I just like that aesthetic because it just makes it feels like really real and raw, like just like a raw shit, not just a clip of like, okay, here's my workout. Because like there's so many workouts on the internet and shit that you can find. It's like but to put your own touch on something is just different. I mean, you can do that also just by talking to the camera, showing who you are to people, and not just like having a song over the whole video.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's all. I don't know. I just want to like find a certain style of editing and format for the videos going forward that is all in line with each other, that can inspire people, and just, I don't know. I want to like bring collective inspiration for people just to start fitness and to just be on this journey. And I feel like if I had my own music to supplement that, that would just, like you said, like I would eventually find my own niche within it. The more like I do it, the more I can express myself through the videos. So yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for a few weeks, so I got a lot more time to figure it out, and then to just kind of test, see what works and what doesn't. And yes, sir, just gotta keep at that joint.
Yo, so we didn't record a podcast between when we did poi to now. So like, what'd you think of hitting poi with me last night? We did yoga and poi. It was a lot of fun, basically. We got a good video of both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were surprisingly good at poi. So maybe talk a little bit about.
Yeah, it's sick. I mean, so freshman year is when we all got poi, or like you got poi, Tyler got poi, and like you guys were like really into that, but I feel like Tyler really took it off because he got fire poi, he got the other balls too, and like he's still actively doing it. And since that summer or the next summer after, I didn't really get a chance to practice with you guys because I didn't see you guys as often. We all kind of went like our own directions within the festival scene. And I would only practice if I saw someone, like a random guy at a festival that had it. I was like, oh shit, yo. And I try that for just like a song, and then I would do it like maybe once a year after that whole time period where y'all did it all the time. So to be able to like actually get a full session in and like learn a few new moves is pretty crazy. So I haven't really had the opportunity to learn from someone directly like that. So that was pretty cool. And like when you're into it, when you're in the flow,
The flow.
when you're into the flow, like you can pretty much put your vibe into the poi, and like you can match the beat, you can match the energy, and you can portray yourself out to the world through that, which is pretty sick. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's all very free, and we're about to run it back tonight too. So
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was cool because you knew a couple separated moves. And so, like, I was able to teach you a couple things too that helped you put them together. Because, like, once you know, like, if you know like 3 moves, you can just like do those 3 moves. But if you know like 7 or 10, then they can all they can all move into the next one, and then you can just start free flowing. You know what I'm saying? You need probably 5 or 6 moves, so just free flow. You know, and so you knew like 4 or 5, and like we taught you probably like 8 by the end of the night. You know, nothing, like a couple of really easy ones, but like that all just put it together for you, where now you can just kind of like have fun with it. Yeah. And once you can do that, once it opens up for you, it's such a good way of experiencing music. So like, say a new album comes out you really like, you know, when you're like, oh, I got to listen to this album, especially you who's like into DJing or maybe just like creating like music for your fitness content, whatever it is, like you need to like pay attention to the music you listen to. Well, if you sit there like and you just like listen, sometimes you can like zone out, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might want to look at your phone. Like sometimes you just get distracted. Like, you know, it's hard. It's kind of hard sometimes. But like with poi is like the best activity to like, okay, I got to pay attention because like I'm moving these to the beat. You know what I'm saying? But there's no other thoughts getting in the way. Like,
because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, it takes focus.
Yeah. Just completely, you're like
immerses yourself into it.
You're like a slave to the music. You know what I'm saying? You're like you're just like controlled by it almost. You know what I'm saying? You just have like, you don't even have a choice, bro. You have to, and it just like fully forces you to encompass like the energy of the like song. Like you could play country music. I would have to fucking find a way to swing these to that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like you're just there. You're just there with it. It's good for living in the present moment too.
It's very freeing.
Yeah. I've found it deeply meditational because I haven't done it in years. All of a sudden, I'm like doing it again. I'm like, man, I love this shit, dude. Like
what happened?
This was like a way of regulating my mental health. I didn't even realize how like important this was to me, and like how sad it was that I stopped doing this.
Yeah.
Especially because it's so easy just to do for like 5 minutes, like once a week or something, like it's
Yeah.
not even a commitment or anything. Like, I don't know why I just been ignoring it. It was like one of my biggest passions for
I
so
feel like
long.
that just happens with so many people with whatever passion they have. Like
Yeah.
it just, they eventually lose touch with it.
It's so weird.
I'm trying to figure out like why. I mean, obviously work and just not having time, but it's like once you don't do it, like say you do something every day for a year, and if you go just a week without doing it, then it gets harder to get back into that
Yeah.
state of just that same cycle of just like, yeah, like I'm doing this every day. And then like it gets more and more spaced out. And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're not doing it and you don't think about it because like you like gradually you stop doing it and then say, oh shit.
Sometimes it gets sad too. Like for me personally, like my big one is soccer. Like soccer used to be the most important part of my life basically. And, you know, I would play it 5 or 6 days a week. And now if I try to play soccer again, it's like I'm not playing at the same level. So it just kind of like makes me realize like the difference between where I was and where I am, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, like I used to be 100 times better than this. So it's like more fun to go learn a new activity like basketball. I've never been good at basketball, so it's exciting. It's like, I don't know. And not to say like I don't ever want to play soccer again. I really do. I really do. But you know what I'm saying? It's when you take a long break from something that you were once super into, I don't know. Sometimes it's harder.
Or
It's
yeah,
harder to start it back up.
because I was really into skateboarding,
Yeah.
back early middle school all the way through sophomore year, like right when I met you, actually, or like right when we became really good friends is when I
Yeah.
stopped skateboarding.
Yeah, because I actually did
Ironically.
skate. I like, was not into skateboarding
But like
at all.
up until that point, I was really into skateboarding and I tried to pick it back up actually last year. Yeah. So I tried to, and I still had the muscle memory for a few tricks, but like when I first got back on the board, it took me probably a full like 3 hours to get my first kickflip back. And I was like,
Mhm.
damn, bro. Like, cause like I still had it and like I was close like almost every time I tried it, but like to still get the move mastered down, it took me like 3 hours just to get it back. And then like I went to the skate park in Jack's Beach and everyone there was just so fucking good because all the kids there, they just grow up skating
Yeah.
and like they don't stop too because like it's just the culture. So like
The
I
culture.
so I just felt like I couldn't really match that and it wasn't as fun as it used to be because back in the day when I was skateboarding, like we would just that's how we got around and it's also just how we had fun because like after school we would skate and just hit a few spots and skate back home. Like it's how we all got from one place to another and then just did fun shit throughout. But like now it's like I can't have that same aspect or same vibe when I'm skateboarding. I think it's like it's lost that appeal. So it's not as enjoyable to get back into it because that whole aspect is gone.
Skating is definitely a youthful activity.
Yeah.
It's something to do as a kid. Like, not to say it's lame to do as an adult, but I feel like it's harder to stay in touch with that skating culture, like you were saying.
Yeah. It's just different.
Yo, surfing. I feel like you would really like surfing.
Yeah. I actually have
I
a
love
friend.
surfing.
Yeah. I have a friend that's been trying to get me to go out like so many times and I just haven't had the opportunity to.
So
But yeah, I mean, I'm probably real soon actually.
I love the west coast of Florida in every way more than the east coast, to be honest, except for the waves. The waves suck out there. And like I honestly like I've never lived in a beach town where I could surf every day, but like if I did, I would surf like 3 days a week at least. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would be a
That's what
surfer.
he does.
I have it in me. Like, I look in the mirror and I see a surfer, even though I've only surfed like 10 times. Like, but I'm like, I am one. I'm
there.
a surfer, bro.
Yeah.
That's like who I am, bro. I just don't ever get the chance.
Yeah.
I rent a board here and there. Like, my mom rented one when we were on vacation a couple months ago, and I rode one wave in one time, and I was like, all right, that was hard. Took me fucking 2 hours. So I'm not even like good, but I just like the idea. I think I like the idea of surfing more than I even like the actual surf, you know?
I mean, it's a whole ass vibe, bro.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah. It's like there's like the skate bros and the surf bros. And like the surf bros I feel like are a more advanced form of the skate bros. Like it's the next phase.
Well, there's snowboarding bros too. And they're
which is like synonymous
all the
with
same,
surfing, but just no.
but it's like skate bros, then snowboarding bros, then the highest level surfing bros. They're the sickest, bro. They're just the illest, dude.
Illest.
Because they're like one with nature. They're like Aquaman out there, bro. They're just like swimming around like a. It's just so like it just seems so chill,
Yeah.
so chill.
I'm just a little worried about sharks though, because there was a shark attack in Jack's Beach like
Really?
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Someone got his arm completely bit off.
I can't fuck with sharks like that, dude. I mean, I just assume that statistics like you're way more likely to die in a car crash than you are to get eaten by a shark.
But still,
Right? Like,
but when there was a recent report of the shark attack, like 5 blocks away from where you live, it's like, oh shit.
yeah, that's kind of sus, bro. That's kind of sus. So did someone die or get a
No,
leg shoot off?
Just his arm fully chewed off.
Bro, that would be rough.
Bro, like I can't even imagine.
I mean, you would go into so much shock. What would really be rough too is not like the moment. It's like living the rest of your life with a phantom limb kind of like situation.
Dude, I don't know. Like that's what I was worried about, bro. Like what's like I feel like inevitably bad shit is gonna happen to all of us. And it's like it's just a matter of when and like what it's gonna be. Like
It's scary, bro.
it's like just the unknown of like like am I gonna get it like terminally ill like within the next year
Yeah.
or two, or am I gonna break a bone? It's gonna fuck up my whole fitness journey. Is my dad gonna like go like get a stroke? You know what I mean? Like anything can happen that can just derail everything. And like up until this point, I feel like I haven't gone through real trauma before. So I'm worried that when I get to that point, I'm just gonna not know how to handle it.
Yeah. No, completely, man. I think first of all, with the fitness being the focal point of our lives, it's so scary. Like you have to think about things can go wrong. Things can go wrong in life. And like I could be paralyzed from the neck down. No, from the waist down, and I could still code as a living. Like I would have to be basically brain dead for me not to be able to code. You know what I'm saying? But fitness, if I like mess up one arm or one leg, like I can't be that guy anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I've known people who were like that guy and they got injured and like now they're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it sucks, dude. And it's sad. And it's like it's a lot is riding on you and me not having any sicknesses or injuries in order to continue to make content like we're making, you know? Scary.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about doing calisthenics is that you're kind of prone to injury. Like that one guy was talking about.
Yeah.
How he's gotten injured a few times. But those are all minor injuries you can work through. But like even a minor injury when you're doing shit like that is like very taxing because like it can translate to other exercises too. And like your whole foundation's fucked up if you can't do basic moves. So, but like even that's like could be tragic, even if it's like minor, but just imagine a major catastrophe in your life. Like it's like, fuck, dude.
Bro. And you were talking about like, you haven't experienced enough traumatic shit. Like I am right there with you, man. Like most people in my life have experienced more traumatic things than I have. And like, I'm not just going to go through my whole life not experiencing anything traumatic. Like something is in the future for me bad that it's just a matter of time. Like, and it's just going to suck. Like, I don't know. Like maybe
that's why it's important to be in the moment.
Maybe things, I don't want to like speak anything wrong into existence. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hoping and praying that I just have the best possible life ever, but it's something I think about and it's like something that's scary, bro. It's like, oh no, like,
and then there's death, which is the ultimate.
Yeah. But some things seem worse to live with than death.
But yeah, I feel like both of those notions, death and the fear of tragedy, if you have the right mindset, you can just channel that into making the most out of every moment and just not wasting any time, because while you are healthy, while you do have the opportunity to do what you want, you need to take full advantage and just having that mindset until something goes wrong, if it does. So that's the way I've been trying to live.
Yeah, man. Specifically, like all 4 of my grandparents are still alive. And one of my grandparents is actually like very sick right now. But I interviewed all 4 of them while they were healthy.
That's it.
And like, that is one thing that I'm like, I feel like that's kind of an obvious thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you 4 grandparents all in their 80s. Like that's something that you like, when I say I have traumatic things on the way, the 4 of them obviously like are not going to be around forever. That's something that like, it's the obvious one. There's probably unobvious things coming for me too. You know what I'm saying? But that one, I'm like, oh shit, like these people are some people I need to cherish the time with.
Mhm.
So that's something that I did to do that. But how do we prepare for the non-obvious ones? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll just have to recalibrate and adapt when it happens. But
Also, like, take measurements to like live in safe areas and do things
do
correctly and like
things
wear the seatbelt and not drive
lessen your
drunk. Like,
risk.
I don't want to, I feel like not the most interesting podcast conversation just to like rant about like things that you should be worried about. But like, yeah, man, safety is something as I get older, I just take so much more serious. It's like kind
That's
of
why
lame.
all of our parents are the way they are.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. It's just like,
Getting old, man.
it's like every time I see my dad, the first thing he asks me is like, "How's your health?"
Yeah.
Like, are you safe? You know what I mean? Like, he's always worried about like safety, which
Well,
like is understandable, but it's like, I don't know. It's just funny to me.
we don't need to get too far into it, but we were just talking about how I got my license at 16 and how just like immature we were at that time period. And it's like, damn, like it's so scary looking back
And
sometimes
like
on just like
now, yeah,
and I'm like, whoa, like, man, I would tell my younger self some strong words about safety and like just,
yeah.
I don't know, like being cautious and caring about yourself
Well, we
enough.
still made it out alive.
Yeah, we're here. We're
But
here. Thank God.
luckily, though, hanging off people's cars, like, well, I don't think you were really around for that. That was like me, Charlie. Yeah. Oh wait, I think you might have been a couple times. But well, yeah, I mean, just like crazy shit we did that like easily could have gone bad,
Hmm.
but didn't. And it's funny because when you're that age, like you feel like you are in a way grounded enough to like be like, nah, man, like it's fine, even though objectively it's not. But like in your mind state, like you truly think it's fine when it's like completely radical shit. Like from our perspective now, I don't know.
For sure. Yo, do you how's your faith? Like, do you still believe in God or like what is your thought process? Are you atheist? Like, what do you think about it all? What do you think?
Shishi.
Sheesh.
I mean, you already know like my whole journey through that, but I
Does
mean,
how we talked about it on the podcast though?
probably not.
What is your journey then?
So growing up, my dad didn't really go to church much. He was always a believer and he read me the Bible a couple times when I was younger, like 5, 6, 7. Just because like he's not an avid believer. Like he does believe just because he was born into it. So like he's not the type to question things. Like he doesn't have that like sense about him. So whatever is like brought into his life, whatever he's raised into, like that's just the way he is, and that's what he taught me.
Mhm.
And he didn't, but like again, he wasn't like immersed into the whole religion, so he didn't like teach me anything specific. But he would just read me the Bible like a few times a night, and then I would go to church like I think, okay, I got baptized in like 5th grade,
Mhm.
but we never went to a church like every Sunday. I think maybe with like other people that invited us a couple times, but yeah, it was never like ingrained into our lifestyle. It's just the overall overarching belief in God and Jesus Christ was,
They call you did you go for Christmas and Easter?
yeah, yeah. So, well,
Creasers.
yeah. So creatures.
Creatures. Oh. But yeah, there's like a stigma for like Christians of like the Christians that only go like on those couple nights, which whatever, like do you, man? Like,
But like I mean, we only went a couple times like in that context. I feel like well, okay, well, that's the next phase. But okay, so throughout all of childhood up until junior year, when Cole came back from that one Christian camp that he went to, up until that point, I was just like a Christian who didn't really question because I was also young. I was like, yeah, like I believe in God. I believe Jesus died for our sins, yada, yada. And then up until Cole came back from that camp is when he just completely like sat me down. He was like, Dan, this is how it works. You need to repent in order to go to heaven. There's no other way. You need to be a true disciple to Jesus. You need to try to help people. You need to influence people. You need to spread the gospel to people. And there's no other way to go to heaven unless you fully repent and devote your life to God. Essentially was his whole path and what and like I just got brainwashed by him because I was young, naive. I couldn't really think for myself. And like since I already believed in it and the way he was like convicting me, it just sounded so real because I was so young and like I just fed into it. And like I've always been a good person at heart, so it didn't feel too unnatural for me to like want to go about that mission. And then for that whole year, throughout the whole school year, we would go on solo missions out to wherever and just try to like spread the gospel to people. We would have these like little pamphlets that we would hand to people. We would go up to homeless people on the street, pray for them. We would go into stores, try to talk to people, and just spread the gospel. Like,
I forgot about all of this, bro. This is a random side story, dude. I'm even cold through this moment, dude. I forgot, bro. I totally forgot. And that's when we weren't as tight that year then.
yeah,
We were tight the year before and then the year after, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was the one.
But we were super tight the year before and super tight the year after.
know.
But then this year I was like, I don't want to do this, bro. I remember you guys would ask me too, like, because I was Christian too, man. I still am, but I was like, yeah, like I'm Christian, but I don't want to like I'm not trying to go around and talk to homeless people like that right now, man. I'm just trying to enjoy my high school experience and like
Dude, it's
fuck
so
around.
tricky. It's so tricky. And yeah, so me and him started going to church, and he brought me to a few churches that were like deep churches. Like we would have like prayer circles and speaking tongues.
Yeah.
And there was
They
this,
believed in healing powers and stuff.
they had a healing session.
Did you ever experience it?
Yeah. I'm about to tell you right now.
Okay.
So they had a healing session
Right there.
on me, and they had this like
It's creepy.
so they had like 12 people like all with their hands on me, not like in the middle. And,
Like,
and then they had this one person, and they had this one person that was doing like a drawing as they were doing it. And she drew it this. So like the outcome of that was they had, so the artist had a drawing of like a furnace that's going through, like there's a certain term for it, but it's like you go through a hardship and then eventually at the end you become polished. It's
Okay,
like,
cleanse.
yeah, but there's a certain like device that does this in the real world that illustrated that she drew.
Okay.
And I forgot what it's called. So
Okay.
he drew that, and I think I still have it somewhere actually.
Creepy.
Yeah, I still have it somewhere. And they were saying how like my faith is going to be challenged throughout my whole life, but then at the end I'm going to come back or some shit like that.
Oh.
Like, what the fuck?
Do you
This is
believe
weird.
it?
No.
Bro, I've always low-key thought that, bro. It was actually a recurring thought more when I was younger, but I was just kind of like, I just kind of want to like not take it serious, and then when I'm older, take it serious. Like, like, come on, that thought comes about because you're like, well, I just have to like make good with God before I go. I mean, obviously you shouldn't think that way, but like I was a young kid, you know what I'm saying? But like I've like, especially when I was younger, I would think like that. I would just be like, I'll just be religious later.
Yeah.
And like as I get older, I do become more religious too. It's kind of the plans kind of happens. I feel like a little bit.
Maybe.
By the time you're old, you're scared too about going to hell more. I mean, who knows? Like, what you think? What do you think? So,
Well, yeah. So after that, it was right before prom actually is when I got out of that, because I started to like, that's when I actually became like more aware, and I started, and like the more I learned in science class, the more I did research, I was like, dude, this just makes no fucking sense. Like nothing about this makes sense. I was like, religion makes sense from a human point of view, that we're trying to explain what we don't understand. There's no concrete evidence for anything that is written in this text and for this whole system to believe in. And I was like, the whole concept of heaven and hell is so far-fetched and sounds so fucking stupid that like I can't even. So like I was getting those thoughts that like, dude, I just can't. There's so many religions also. Why am I selecting this one to be the true one? Like, you know, so like, I was just like, okay, bro, like this just doesn't make sense. And it's not how I want to live, because then I was just like, okay, bro, like I'm just not, it's not in me to be living this much of a strict life that I'm not fully certain about. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to like stop. So I didn't even like phase out of it. I just stopped. Like I just had one day I questioned a lot, and it all just didn't I had so much doubt. I was like, dude, this is just so dumb.
yeah.
Like, and then that's when I got back into my lit boy phase.
Hey, I would say that I want to believe, and I just am always struggling with my faith, like constantly struggling, but always like I don't give up on it either. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like I think there's like a term like wrestling with God. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the true encompassment of like being religious or like you know the best person you can be is like always questioning it too. Like and like you know like not just accepting like you're saying like people that just accept it because their parents gave it to them. It's like no, like I always question that shit. And
Yeah.
one thing I always question, and I still do to this day, is like the concept of hell. I don't know if I don't buy it. I just don't buy. I just don't think an all loving God would just burn us for eternity. Like you know what I'm saying? I just don't know if I believe in hell
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's just really like when
or
you get
heaven.
into this kind of category, bro, it's like so hard because any theory, any idea you have, like it has no basis. I mean, like you hear stories,
Yeah,
you hear near death experiences from people, but it's like there's just no way to even fathom or grasp what's gonna happen. And
yeah. That's why I think it's a very slight difference between being like I believe in God, I believe I'm going to heaven, I believe I'm going to hell. That's what I think. But we're talking about things that no one fucking knows, and I hate it when that part is not acknowledged. What you just acknowledged,
yeah,
where someone's like, "No, there is a God, there is a heaven, there is a hell." It's like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, there is an Easter bunny, there is a Santa Claus. Like, these are all things you told me at one point in time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Santa was as real to me as Jesus and God were. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that's my point. Is just like we can all believe in Santa. He's real. Like as like a fucking archetype and you know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
like don't tell me so confidently of like the afterlife
Like
because
this is exactly how it goes.
how did any human ever know? Like I don't care if you read it in a book, like it's like it's just I believe it too, but like can we just acknowledge that we're believing in something and it's not a fact? Like science is a fact,
Yeah,
you know? And it's just that slight difference I feel like makes the world of a difference when you talk about
yeah.
concepts like the afterlife and stuff.
But I feel like no matter how you look at it, nothing makes sense. Like,
No.
where did matter come from? God? Where did God come? Like, what created God? Like, what is the origin of all origins? But what created that origin? So none of like energy, matter is like physical. Like you can
Mhm.
touch. Like it's fucking there. But how? Like what the fuck? Like it's there, but has it always been there? Like what is the?
What is
Makes no fucking
what's
sense.
outside the simulation? You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Because
even if it is a simulation, what created the simulation? Like, what
yeah,
like, it always goes back to that same question. So it doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's like existential crisis type shit because there's no objective way to look at it. And
and since everyone it's like it's in human nature, I think we're the only species that understands the concept of time, which means we're the only one that understands the concept of death, which means our burden as humans is knowing that we're going to die. Every single human on this planet
yeah, we're trying to
is
find
faced with the same
some way to
problem
explain it.
that you will die. Like other animals don't feel that. So like religion provides that answer. So it's like so manipulative. It's like so like you're literally like taking advantage of the fact that this person doesn't know what's going to happen after they die and you're giving them an answer
They're
and like
trying to explain
even if the answer is right, I think my problem with religion as well is like there's so much power in being able to manipulate the masses and like there's so much corruption that can occur. I mean, we were talking about priests, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying, and just the corrupt stuff that happens there. We don't need to go into that, but religion provides an outlet for manipulation, corruption, and like just
Division too.
yeah, a lot of issues. Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, I just always think back to that concept of like, where did everything originate from? And just being so grateful to be a sentient, conscious
Yeah.
humanoid on
Humanoid.
this planet that can fucking comprehend concepts, even if other species potentially out there can to a high greater capacity. The fact that we can even have free thinking and be able to experience shit like festivals and being here at South Beach, we're just like, it's a crazy time to be alive. And I feel like I almost don't deserve to be alive at this time because of how amazing it is. Like when you really
Mhm.
go deep into it and just think about like how convenient everything is, how accessible everything is, how next level, like everything that you can experience can be. Whereas being a human at any point in time is pretty sick.
Mhm.
I mean, probably not at any point in time, but like generally speaking, just being able to have free thought and to like contemplate is crazy. But just even life in of itself is crazy. And
The fact that anything exists is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. Like that first
It's
question.
more likely that nothing would ever exist than for anything to
Yeah,
exist. Like,
exactly. So it's like
what?
I just like to just have gratitude towards it and not really try to understand it, but just be like, okay, I don't know what the fuck is going on right now, but I'm here for it.
Bro, gratitude is like my new favorite thing starting of like a year or two ago. And like it still is because it's such like a life hack. Every time someone wants to talk about it on the podcast, I'm like, let's go. Because it's not something that you talk about once and set down. You know what I'm saying? It's not something you learn about. Like gratitude is like something you rehearse. It's like meditation or something, or like brushing your teeth. It's something you do every day, like and it's a practice and it's like a habit, and it's like but it's a way of thinking. And so like every time someone wants to talk about it on the podcast, I lean into it and I like have a whole combo about it because think about it, for the listener, it's like a podcast is kind of like training wheels for
I
them.
was about
Like
to say
it's
that.
kind of like you're kind of allowing someone to think for you. And so whenever we hit on gratitude, it makes them grateful and them think about gratitude. Like everyone has something to be grateful for, everyone, but it's not just like it sometimes when I talk about easy topics, everyone understands like the topic of gratitude. So it's like some things are not worth talking about on every episode. But this one, it's just like it's worth repeating, it's worth building it in because it's like never a waste of a moment to like focus on gratitude. Like it always
Exactly.
enhances it'll raise everyone's vibration. You, me, everyone that's listening. If you and me talk about like something very specific like um uh software development and the listener doesn't need to know that specifically, it's not going to raise their vibration. You know what I'm saying? It's just not universal enough for everyone to care about it. But like
Exactly.
when I'm trying to like have a universal appeal just so that any listener will like be like I said, have their vibration raised from this conversation, like gratitude, I feel like is maybe the most universal concept.
I think so too.
It could be even more universal than love because some people are heartbroken and not in love. Although sometimes absence of love is a form of love in its own, but like maybe pain is universal. But like I feel like gratitude's a better universal topic for people to listen to. Like, I feel you get more out of it by being reminded of it than you do about pain
Because
or love.
I feel like some people haven't experienced true love,
That's true.
but people can always tap into gratefulness.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I mean, you just like all it takes is just looking at what you have. Like
Mhm.
you can be grateful for this microphone right here. The fact
Yeah.
that people can hear us from miles away
Mhm.
and can still get insight from our conversation. Just be grateful for that. Or say someone is in poverty, but still being grateful that they have access to at least some water. Like,
Mhm.
even though it could be better, but still being grateful just to be alive. Like, as simple as that. But yeah, I mean,
But like the reason too it's such a hack is because like might just be me seeing connections with things that are there, but like for instance, when I was working at Oracle, like I did not like my job and I was like, man, I don't really like this job. Like I wish I had a different job basically. And I'd already applied for Ionic and I didn't get it. And then I went to work at Oracle. So it was kind of like the second prize or whatever. But like I remember at one point I had a mental switch at Oracle and I was like, you know what? Like no, I am grateful for this job. I'm happy I have this job. Like, you know, I need to commit to this. Like, I need to try hard. I need to learn. Like, I really need to just like be like grateful for every moment that I'm working at this job. Like, it pays the bills. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's allowing me to live a certain lifestyle. It's work, you know, and I just really just like had a change in mindset, how grateful I was for that job
even though you didn't like it.
even though I didn't like it. And then boom, then I get the job. Then out of the blue, Ionic calls me and the job I really wanted falls right into my lap. You know what I'm saying? And I always wanted to be grateful for the Oracle job, but it wasn't until I really like mastered gratitude towards it that life was like bing, you get to move on to the next round. You know what I'm saying? You did it. You passed the test, the whatever. And I, you know, I don't really know.
That's another topic I want to talk about actually.
Okay, bring it up.
If you think things happen for a reason, or if the universe
Yeah.
works in your favor, or if there's an ultimate path for it, you know what I mean? Or if there's no free will at all, like where do you fall in line?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, yeah. So like, I'm asking you, like, as opposed to fate and like the universe has a plan for you versus there is no free will, everything is in order. Like,
Yeah. So what I would say, it's a really complicated answer because I've thought about this a lot, to be honest.
wait. Sorry, I didn't say that right. So either everything is laid out for you and like there is a path that you have to follow, or there is free will. Wait,
I would say this is what I truly believe. I believe in the multiverse theory and that there is infinite possibility of infinite dimensions going on simultaneously, and that you essentially, things like gratitude, anything you do, but that would be a powerful like example, can switch your timeline. You know what I'm saying? So right now, from this point forward, there's like the best possible timeline for you, the worst possible timeline for you, and like everything in between. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the younger you are, obviously, the more timelines there are, because like if you're 1 year old, your life can go any direction. And you and me, like, we're in our late 20s, that has closed, like the amount of timelines is like smaller now. You know what I'm saying? And so I think we have free will, but also there's only there's only a set amount of paths that we can move forward, and that's still like hundreds of thousands, like in millions. You know what I'm saying? Because there's an infinite when you're 0 years old. You know what I'm saying? Possibilities. So in some ways, you are destined like for a certain path. You know what I'm saying? But if you are like, if your vibration is high enough and you are like conscious enough about like directing yourself, you can jump into higher time, like higher, you can move yourself into like a different dimension.
advantageous.
Yeah. The dimension. Yeah. Yeah. The path forward that you want to go. You know what I'm saying?
The higher you are vibrationally, the more likely it is that you'll fall into the right path and like you'll have.
Or the one you want to be on.
Yeah.
You can choose. Maybe you want to have a shitty life. I don't know. But so is there free will? Yes. But you have to play within the destinies that are there. Like, so in some ways it's set in stone because all of those infinite timelines have happened. So it is set in stone. You know what I'm saying? It is. Like, you don't have free will, but there are things you can do to experience one of the timelines, because like, I think that Dan Irwin has experienced every timeline. Like, there's some version of you that has done everything that you could possibly have done. So therefore, it's just about which one do you want to ride. It's like a movie or a ride. You have to like ride along the one you want to this time, like in this life. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter because you'll get probably reincarnated and you'll do all of them. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really have an option in the sense of like, there is no free will. You have to experience every timeline at some point. But what do you want to do right now in this life? There is somewhat of a free will in that. Does that make any sense?
To a degree, yes. But what is your, like, okay, so we're just talking about theorizing about God and shit, but like, how, like, what is the basis of this theory? Like, you seem very confident telling it, and you were just saying how you don't like when people say like, this is how it works. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but this is my theory. Okay?
Yeah.
So let me preface it with saying like this is the way I think, intuitively, and just based on what everything we know at this point, this is kind of what I feel like is a strong possibility, but I don't know. I'm just making this up. I'm obviously making this up, and I don't know if there is a multiverse. I don't know if there's life after death.
So, but like, I was asking if like the basis.
But you asked for my like theory.
Yeah. But is the basis anything that you've heard from other people, or is it all just within you? Like,
well, yeah, it's like
it's probably influenced by
everything.
Yeah.
I'm another thing too is like, I'm constantly updating my schema. You know what I'm saying? So as new science comes out and we think that there's a multi dimensions and a multiverse, especially the aliens too. I've had a lot of theories that came up because we're starting to recognize aliens are real. I'm constantly updating. And in fact, I become less religious since we've thought aliens are real. It's like a natural thing to think about. You know what I'm saying? Like, really? Okay, we're not the center of the fucking universe. Like, there's aliens out there. Like, less likely that, like, there's a heaven and hell and all
Why
that
would that
shit.
mean that God or the concept of God would be less likely if there's other?
No,
But
no, the Christian religion.
in the concept of
I still think there's a God.
Christianity,
Yeah, yeah.
but I feel like people assume that just based off of that religion only because that teaches that we are the center and that. So, but I think that's a flawed way to see God
Because I
in the
think
universe.
if you look in the Christian Bible, there's a bunch of stories of angels. I think now there's explanations for that. Those were aliens. That's you know what I'm saying? That's why I lose faith in some of like the Christian, like
Crazy.
some of our histories of our religious stories are like, I think, alien interpretations now that aliens are a thing. Like now that and we talked about this off the podcast, but the government has like announced that there's flying saucers that like roam around our planet that they don't fucking know what they are. That's what our government is now finally officially saying. So this is something that now I'm updating my schema of like, I wonder, all these things get
Yeah.
updated all the time. So I don't ever know, but my what I think based on like all the inputs, right, from other people's theories and stuff is that more than likely there is a soul energy within us. And when you die, that part of you gets returned to like the global consciousness. So right now you are God, putting a piece of God into like flesh, like a human, and you're a piece of God. And that when you die, that piece of God like gets like, added back to like the global consciousness. So you're not really yourself. And then I think that there's an ego, and that ego gets reincarnated over and over and over and over again. And you live the same life over and over and over again. And every time you're born is Dan Irwin in the same circumstances, except for based on whatever you decide that next round, you can go like you can live in any of the multiverses, right? Like I was saying, based on what you learn in this life, you can make different decisions next life because it's not just the same
But you
thing.
wouldn't
It's not just
conscious of it.
you wouldn't be conscious of it, no. But time is relative. So like the idea of like a third dimensional being, like Dan Irwin, the third dimensional being, if you were God, that's like a fourth dimensional being, you would just be like in a loop like that. You know what I'm saying? You just be stuck in this like little thing. He could see from the beginning to the end, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing, you know what I'm saying, of your whole life. But if you were like a fifth dimensional being and you could see Dan Irwin in all the different dimensions at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Then you would be like not just a third dimension or a fourth dimension in time, you'd also be existing in all of your potential timelines at once. So part of you, your ego, I think it's reincarnated and it's just like on a loop going through different scenarios of how your life could have played out. And that's how sometimes we like get images and signals. Like you ever get deja vu in something? Well, maybe you like made that decision, twice. And I don't think that like our path is set in stone. I think that like our spirit probably like learns over time and maybe we're doing better and better each life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this, like, I might not make the gym and then I might die and I might get bored again. And then next life, I'll get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think that you like are here for a reason. And I don't think it always just like fucking, it ends when life ends. Like you might have to start over, you know? But I don't know. I don't fucking know what I'm talking. Obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Anything related to this is just all subjective. Like you can't. I mean, but it's the most fascinating shit to talk about at the same time. So
That's what I think, man.
yeah.
These are my theories.
So for me, I
who
don't
knows?
rule out the multiverse. I think that, and I think there is evidence or some type of evidence, not concrete, but empirical evidence of it existing. Or I'm not even sure, but I'm not ruling that out, but I think within this plane, within this life, there is no free will.
I think that's a good theory too.
I think everything's a chain reaction.
Because if you think about it, nature versus nurture, you're born already with like your genes, your genetics, like you're half your mom, half your dad, like you're either going to be white or black or Hispanic, or you're going to be tall or short. There's so many aspects of you that are already decided. And then you have nurture, like when you're born, you're like a blueprint and your parents raise you and they basically tell you things and like you become like, they basically program you like a goddamn, like like program, and they say, hey, care about this, don't care about that, do this, do that. And in some ways you revolt, but in some ways you have to revolt.
Green.
Yeah. So like you have to kind of revolt against what they told you as a teenager and then find a happy medium as you get older. But like, do you really get to choose that? Do you really get to choose? Like, because, you know, someone who was born in a different country than us really didn't even have the same opportunities to think the way that we do. So did we really get an option to be the way we are? Like, I don't know, bro. Like my parents met like at a gym. Like sometimes I think that it's destiny. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I think that like the my dreams, my goals were all kind of laid out, and like I just kind of absorbed what my parents thought were cool. Like my mom liked business, my dad liked sci-fi stuff. They both kind of like fitness a little bit. Like I just, you know, I was like, blah, 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 I'll do this with my life, and I just became like it was a program, and they put in the variables and they output. It was me. You know what I'm saying? And like I didn't really decide.
Mhm.
Like if we were a spirit right before we got reincarnated into this world, and they said, "Who do you want to be?" and you said, "I want to be Dan Irwin, a white guy in Northern Virginia." Like then you chose. But did you say that? No. Did anyone ask you right before you got born what you want to be? Like no. So like I don't really know how much free will we do have.
Yeah. But I kind of look at it at more of a micro level. Like everything that part of or all stimuli causes a reaction in your brain, and like the way you perceive it is based on factors as you're growing up, and like like every experience you have builds you more and more into your own character. But everything, just like the way you're sitting right now, the way like your whole posture is, like it has a subconscious effect on my brain, which affects the way I might talk to you. That's why my vibe can be a lot different when I talk to you versus someone else, or
Yeah.
just like, but from a more micro level and seeing it that way, just like everything that you process, all stimuli, like you don't really have an option. Like if you're on the fence about making a choice, like you really were always going to choose that one choice, because that is your brain goes through these loops, and either subconsciously or actually consciously, you will make a choice, and like you will do what your brain wants you to do. Even if you think you have the illusion of choice, like you are always going to do that. But not even applying to us being humans, even like way back from the dawn of time, I think everything has just been a chain, like
Mhm.
atoms combining and creating elements, which forms, you know, like everything just is a chain reaction from one to the next and next. And then and that carries over to us being
Yeah.
actual people that can think. It's the same concepts, but within our brain too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think like everything just goes in a line, and
For sure. I mean, ever since the dawn of time, it's been increased complexity, right? So like galaxies and like stars are really cool, but they're not complex. They're just big balls of fire in the sky. There's like one big like source of fucking energy, right? And then like as you get planets forming with atmospheres and chemistry starts, and then biology starts, and then from biology like could form psychology, and then from there sociology, and then from societies we're now putting together like artificial intelligent, like big, like micro, like cyborg organisms of like people and computers and shit like that. It's like, I just got more like from early physics all the way through all the sciences to like now, like AI, it's like increased complexity, you know what I'm saying? And we're just on a path towards that direction, you know? But also, like you were saying, I think you're talking about like you get a stimulus and you act a certain way, you're reacting and you can't ever be proactive. I think there are ways of being proactive, which you there's
but
your
it's like you are, but you were always going to think that way. So okay, here's how I can be more proactive. Like that was always going to happen.
yes.
Like you know what I mean?
I yeah, I know that mindset too, but something it reminded me of was like in psychology, they say you have like your emotional side and your logical side, and we think that we follow our logical side, but we really follow our emotions. You know what I'm saying? So everything actually is an emotional response. And then secondary, there's a logical response that makes us explain, like you were saying, like I might just decide to pick up this can and take a drink. You know what I'm saying? And then in my head, I might go, I was thirsty. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't thirst that made me pick up the drink. It was an emotional response in me that like emotionally wanted that drink. And everything we do is actually emotional. And then our logical brain follows it around and makes up a story for why we did that. And we're just like, the way we interpret it is through the logical side. So we see ourselves as like the story of what we do, but it's really just a chain of emotions. And I think that if you understand that, then, and you can if you can talk to that side of your brain, then I think you get free will back. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you don't know how to do that, then you don't have free will. You know what I'm saying? So for instance, like you could tell yourself, hey, go to the gym. You'll lose weight. You know, people will like you more. You'll make money from your Instagram account. But that's not how your emotional brain thinks. So if you tell yourself, hey, you should go to the gym tomorrow, it'll feel so good, man. Like just think about how it would feel to have that pump. It'll feel good. And like, then you're like, yeah, and then you go do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you just kind of programmed yourself, and like, you didn't really have free will until you did that, because so many people will be like, yo, I should go to the gym. I should lose 10 pounds. It'll be so good for that wedding or like whatever. And then like, they just don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And those people, I don't think they have free will in that sense, in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because they wanted to do something and they didn't do it. But if you can hack in to program yourself, you know what I'm saying? That to me is having free will. And that's a lot of what this podcast is, and what everything I'm doing is like the drive program, bro. It's like, I believe that these conversations can program someone's mind, you know what I'm saying, in a way that gives them access to program themselves. Like, you know, and that my app is another tool to like trick you into enjoying exercise. Like let's tie it into video games in a way where like maybe you wouldn't have worked out, and now now you have a little bit more of free will. Like you have a little bit more of you can direct your outcome a little bit better, you know? So I do have to believe in free will for all of that to like
For example,
yeah. But I get the thought of like,
yeah.
nope. It's like,
But again, that's also just a theory that has no basis. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I think it's the most logical way to think about it, but that's my emotional side. So like what you're talking about, like I'm just trying to understand how I'm thinking about it, but it sounds logical on paper, but is it really? You know, it's like, and like, what if the way we think is objectively like wrong?
Completely.
I mean, I guess from physics and from a scientific point of view, what we have established as facts is facts. But like, what if, I mean, going to like politically and shit, we're not going to get into that, but like how, like, it feels objective that certain things shouldn't happen and should happen, yet like a majority of people, like how we're talking to the guy in the Uber on the way to the club, about how most people just fall into the 9 to 5 and don't really question it and don't go out of their comfort zone. Like, and work and like live for the weekends, whereas like that's the standard and that's what people do. Yet objectively, it makes so much more sense to not live to work, but work to live. And like, no one does it though. So, but like, could that be applied to like, generally, do we as a species just go about life the wrong way, or do we process it incorrectly? Or like, I mean, especially now with the influence of technology and like so many people's opinions just infiltrating, it's like, has us as a species collectively like swayed from where we were like a few 100,000 or a few 100 years ago, or like a few thousand years ago? So were they making like objectively better life choices than we are today, and like how they process everything?
So I would say yes. Like it's very obvious actually that human beings are not living life the best way, right? Because we always say this bullshit to each other, live in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Every other animal on this planet is in the moment. They're living in the moment and come 100% in the moment. Why? Like it goes back to like the knowledge of death and the understanding of time. Like this is our burden to bear. Like because of that, human beings don't, like we evolved in some weird, it's like we're in some ways we're like deformed. We're like for the only one that's like fucked up and like not quite in reality. You know what I'm saying? Because every other animal is just there. Like
Ability to question.
they're saying dolphins are just as smart as us. Like dolphins probably have it figured out better than us, because they're just swimming around and just having fun. Like they're just chilling and like
We just overcomplicate shit.
yeah, we overcomplicate shit. But the thing is, I would say is like human beings, and especially specifically the capitalist society that we live in, is productive. You know what I'm saying? So like human beings are like actually gonna make it to Mars, and we're actually gonna like invent crazy shit, and we're gonna like, you know, maybe like we could invent something that stops the sun from blowing up, you know, eventually. You know, we harness the power of the sun and do something and save all the animals on the planet because we're so fucking smart. We're the most productive animal that's ever existed, but I think that there is something naturally very wrong with being human as far as nature goes, and as far as like specifically the Western culture that we live in, where it's like shamans that live in the fucking jungle probably are more in touch with
Yeah.
like a way someone should naturally be living than someone in New York fucking city. Like, like it's just, there is something wrong there.
Do you know if there's any data on like if we are smarter now than we were before? Because I mean, obviously, technologically, we just went skyrocket, just straight up, like very, very, very rapidly. So it's like, was that a reflection of us being smarter than before, or was it just like everything fell into place at the right time? Because I mean, have we really gained that much intelligence as a species in the last like 500 years? Like,
No,
I don't really, I feel like people might have been smarter back then, but it's like the more shit that's invented and the more that you can create new things with the previous inventions, it's just kind of like,
yeah. No, I think for human beings being more intelligent, I think that that for the evolution on that takes way longer than like
yeah,
our societies. So like 2000 years, like the beginning of this like era, epoch, whatever. No, there's no way our brains developed anymore. In
yeah,
fact, probably our brains like haven't developed
probably,
in like 10,000 years, you know what I'm saying? Or more. Like, so like they say like the early like cave people, like they were just as smart as we were. They just didn't have as sophisticated of a life as us. Like now we have better access to data and stuff like that. So in a way, like, yeah, we're kind of like cyborgs now. We have access to the internet, but our brains, like we're getting like technological updates, but the software that runs our brains, the exact same as a caveman, I think.
that's crazy.
Yeah. Maybe slightly
Feel like
slight.
just compounds, like the more shit that we create, like, and
Yeah.
like it just branches off and it gets quicker and quicker.
I think the last update we really got was when we invented fire. So like something like fire will allow us to cook food, and it will give us a whole different
Compound.
and that's a nutrition upgrade. And I think that probably has a brain upgrade too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But something happened before that we went through like a lot of brain upgrades, and this ties into the alien theory. So like there was a point in time where like monkeys' brains like doubled in a very short amount of time, and we don't understand what happened there. And like now we're humans basically. And like some people believe that like aliens actually came down and like enhanced or like messed with our DNA, like that our DNA has been tampered with by like aliens or some more intelligent being, which is kind of conspiratorial. And like yeah, there's no evidence there, just kind of like there's no evidence of the Bible or like God's existence. But like, so I'm saying that with a grain of salt, but like, how would we know? It's completely possible that a more intelligent species found some apes and
Yeah.
fucking jacked them up on some brain steroids, and like that's why we are the way we are. But I don't think that we have increased that much more. Also, this reminds me, we both read the same book, Sapiens, and I feel like we're kind of hitting on some of those topics.
I'm like halfway.
Okay, well, this is from the beginning of the book, which is you were talking about, has life gotten better? Has life gotten better for us? Remember in that book, they said once we started creating farms and stuff, life did not.
That's when it went downhill.
Yeah, like life actually did not get better. So like you naturally assume that like when humans started creating societies and things like that, like, oh, life was better once we went from hunter gatherers to farming to like actual societies. But like no, it only got better for the kings and for like the 1%, the 10% at the top kind of vibe, because for the most part, like hunter-gatherer societies were more balanced, like people were happier there, and like
Because they didn't have a need for anything else. Like that's all they
yeah,
had. That
they
just went out to hunt for food and just spend time together.
yeah, it kind of and
They didn't have any other yearning for anything else.
I'm pretty sure they only had to spend like 25 hours like a week, like hunting and gathering
I
their
think
food.
I think that's what the author said.
Yeah.
They spent like 25 hours a week hunting, whereas agricultural societies was like almost double that.
Yeah, and then the poverty like started up, and like people malnutrition, and people like got by with less, and like they were kind of yeah, I don't know exactly why he said it too, but like basically it was not an improvement for most people. It was actually a downgrade, but it was just more efficient. It was better for the society overall, but like an improvement for a society does not mean improvements for individuals. So, and I feel like that same like idea has probably progressed at different times throughout our society, where like society has steadily gotten better from the dawn of time till now. Like society is so great, but like life for the individual has not always gotten better. You know what I'm saying? And yes, we live a more comfortable life right now, but I don't think
equal good though.
I don't think human beings are anywhere like, especially in America, are not as fulfilled as they were if you go back in time. Like I think the average hunter gatherer was way more fulfilled and happy with life than the average American is today. And I think if you go back 500 years, it was more fulfilled and more, you know what I'm saying? But society got better. So like society counts
Trade off.
yeah. We're like, but that's why we're all just like cogs in the machine, like that Pink Floyd song. Like we're just bricks in a wall. Like we become dependent on the state. Like the state like provides us with everything we need, so we don't have to go fucking kill things for our food. But at the same time, like we pay the price. You know?
Damn. Yeah, it's pretty nutty, but crazy shit.
What else did you like about that book? And like, so Sapiens, by the way, all right, go on.
I thought it was interesting how there were, I think he said 5 or more different human species at one time.
Oh yeah.
Like because I always thought it was in a line. Like there were, it went from ships to Neanderthals and then to humans. But I thought there were like a few other branches of Neanderthals that existed along the same line getting to Homo sapiens. But Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and a few other species were all alive at the same time. And there's a theory that Homo sapiens wiped out all the other humans.
Yeah.
And were the species that reigns. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I had no idea we existed at the same time at all.
Yeah.
And how there were mass extinctions caused by humans while we were hunter-gatherers before society even rose, because we overhunted all the large animals that were in Australia when we first got there, and we overhunted everything. And it said around 80% of all the large mammals over a certain weight are extinct just from us hunting. Like, I had no idea we had that much impact before agriculture and all of that. It's crazy. And like, what the fuck, dude? And like some of those species, I had no idea. Like, I haven't seen any pictures, but like crazy, like almost like not dinosaur, like caliber animals, but like just massive, like crazy looking animals that I had no idea existed before. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it's only a few thousand years ago. I'm just like, God damn. Like, so eye-opening.
Yeah, man. It is like, it's crazy to think that our history is like we just went around and murdered everyone else. Like that's what the fuck happened. It was like complete like genocide, dude. I mean, they weren't people, but they weren't our type of humanoids, but they were homo still from the same family. You know what I'm saying?
But just imagine seeing someone that looks like you but doesn't. It's like, this person's not a part of our tribe. We need to do something about, like, this is not right.
Well, like,
because when all you're used to is your tribe, and then out of nowhere you run into a camp.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we need to take them out.
Well, dude, think about how much racial division there is today in the world, and it's just different races of Homo sapiens, right? And it's like
same concept,
but it's even more advanced because it's completely different species. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, or sectors of it. So it's like, yeah, we took, I don't know, we felt threatened by them or something. I don't know, man. It's a violent fucking start to our like existence, though. Jesus Christ, like.
Oh, and there's theories that we interbred with Neanderthals.
I think we did too. Yeah.
There's a small percentage of Neanderthal DNA.
And I think certain like areas in the world, certain people are more of a descendants of a couple different maybe
Yeah.
of these like early like hominids, you know?
Possible the species that took out the Neanderthals wasn't us, and whoever interbred, well, that could be, yeah. Possibly our species could be the mixture of the species that killed
Mhm.
Neanderthals and Neanderthals into us.
But something makes sense, which is like if we see a zombie or something like on TV, it like really scares us. Or dolls really scare us because if something looks almost human but is not, like there's something deep inbred in us to tell us that's a sick person. Like so, like back in the day, if like you were super sick and you started looking weird, like a weird version of yourself, you know what I'm saying? You were like dying. Like there's something like I would learn over time through evolution that like you could kill me basically. Like you might like spread a disease to me. You know what I'm saying? So we like were it's ingrained in us to like kill or stay away from like a half alive type of person, I think. You know what I'm saying? That's why dolls and like zombies like kind of freak us out because they're like almost alive. They like look alive, and robots really freak us out sometimes just because they like almost look alive, but they're not.
Yeah.
And like I think that maybe the other sectors of like our species maybe freaked us out or something. I don't know, dude.
I think so. Or it's pretty wild.
Yo, you know what else I thought about? It's kind of wild. Like, we're talking about the Bible too, and like the first story of the Bible after Adam and Eve is Cain and Abel, bro. And like, I don't know if you know that story, but like basically Abel is like God's favorite, and Abel is like asked God for like he makes sacrifices for God, and God's like very happy with his sacrifices. And Cain makes sacrifices, but God is like, nah, fuck you, bro. Like, I don't really give a shit about yours. And like Cain's like, what the fuck? And he like gets pissed off and he murders Abel, bro. And that's like one of our early origin stories is like this story of Cain and Abel. And like in a lot of ways, Cain and Abel, they might have been real people, but they're also archetypes. They're like, it's more of like a reflection of like human behavior, you know what I'm saying? And how we act. And like, I wonder if maybe it could be a metaphor for like Abel was like another hominid. Like it was like he represents like a whole other species. And Cain was like our species. And we like murdered all those other like hominids. And like, that was like the Cain and Abel story is like,
The whole metaphor of that.
yeah, it's like because like the further back you go in any story of human nature, like they were told by mouth. You know what I'm saying? So like when you tell a story by mouth, like it gets passed down for generations, and like you know it changes over time, and like different like tribes would have different versions of that story. And when they come together, they have to like figure it out. Like, okay, how are we going to tell the story now? And they take a little bit from this one, a little bit from that one. And so like as we became society, some of these stories are like the best stories and like the combinations of like all the best stories, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then they get put into a book way later down the road, you know what I'm saying? So you have to view the Old Testament stories kind of differently. They like arose out of like our history,
Word of
and
mouth.
like they are real basically, but they're not, maybe they happened, maybe they didn't, but they still like derived out of us and they mean something, you know what I'm saying? And so like I wonder that could be like our history, you know what I'm saying? In a way.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's just hard to like really get a overarching view of like the meaning behind all the stories and if they really did happen or not. I mean, it's just so hard to like actually dive into it. But
The story of Adam and Eve is so interesting, bro. Like people are always talking about that shit. It's one of my, especially when people make fun of it online, like they do parodies of like Adam and Eve kind of geeks, bro.
yeah,
Because in a lot of ways it blames Eve for like all the problems in the world. And it's like, I feel like it creates sexism in a way or something. Like it's like something's going on with that story. I don't think it's like, I don't know, man.
like the root of all evil.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, but that was the main reason, or one of the main reasons why I stopped believing, just because that story was just too much of a fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
like you don't just create people out of thin air. Like it didn't. I mean, evolution obviously is.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that was one of the main things, like my main doubts. And they do this makes no fucking sense. Like, but yeah, again, it could be a metaphor for a larger picture and not to be taken literally. But the people at the time writing it, I doubt that they intended it to be a metaphor. Like they believed that to be the origin story. Like I highly doubt that it was just embedded in, or it was in some way common knowledge for it to be perceived as a metaphor. Like I just don't think that was the intent. But then again, like the people who originally told that story might have intended it to be that way. But then as it got passed down, like you're saying, it probably people saw it from a more literal perspective just because they didn't get the full picture. And then I don't know, just hard. But
Yeah, I don't think people took it as a metaphor. I think it was facts. Like, back then it was just facts, but also since it didn't have science, they didn't have all these other things, like it just kind of was. Like, I don't think that you had to question it. It just kind of something you learned about and you knew, and it's like a story that the metaphorical aspects of it you understood, but like you didn't. I feel like today,
well,
people get
today,
so much more worked up about it and like fight for it and like argue it and like I don't know. It's just like just believe it and move on, or something, or don't. But like
yeah,
there's some value to be had there, but also don't get so worked up about it where you're gonna like think science is wrong and be like, oh, the world's only 5,000 years old. Like, no, it's not. Like we know better now. It's not. But like still read the damn thing. Like it's interesting. Like, but no, like we know that the world is 4 billion years old.
yeah.
Like we just know that now. It's not up for debate. And there's certain things like that. I just think that
Yeah.
we should acknowledge.
I mean, yeah, but that's why I just can't be on board with one
Yeah.
specific religion, but then still have the belief that there may be something higher than us that's and trying to give us direction or is responsible for our creation. But I mean, just to pick one form of that feels completely wrong because of so many errors. And
So here's a question then. Like some people who say this are like, but I'm still spiritual. Like I'm still a spiritual guy. Like I still like, do you have a preface like that? Like, do you think of yourself as a spiritual person? Like, do you think of
I
yourself
feel
as
like
an atheist?
people have different versions of what they mean to be spiritual. Like
Yeah.
what would that mean for you?
Maybe you meditate, you have a connection with something higher than yourself, but you don't try to put a label on it. You know what I'm saying? Like you are,
See, I don't feel like I have a connection with anything external because I don't like I haven't had any experience. I mean, I guess a few with Cole that were weird with like speaking tongues type shit, but
did you feel anything in those
no.
moments? Did you feel
Well,
connected to God or some higher?
see, but in a couple times I thought I got touched by something, but I think I was so in my head, like I was so focused, like during that time period, I was so focused on wanting to feel that kind of connection that I made myself believe in certain moments that there was something different about that moment where God was trying to say something to me because I was so focused on wanting to receive that. But since that time period, I haven't felt anything. I mean,
Do you feel like there's something missing in your life? Or you like, do you think that you don't need that? Like,
I mean,
are you like,
I guess I'm just not focused on seeking out a connection with something that is not objective and something that I don't know even exists. So it's hard to try to make a connection with that when like I don't have any basis for it or I don't like know how to go about it. And I mean, I try to be present. I don't meditate, which I probably should, but I feel like if I were to do that, it would be possible maybe from a more grounded place mentally, not where I'm expecting anything. And if I did feel some kind of connection or something that felt just different, I'll be more inclined to resonate with it because I don't have any preconceived notions that I'm trying to fulfill. So I don't know. I feel whenever I feel love for people or feel like again, having gratitude is another thing, but like that's not spiritual. That's just more like that's more physical. Like
Mhm.
whereas spirituality, I'm kind of like oblivious to what that connection's supposed to feel like. But I feel like it's more so a connection within yourself and being grounded within yourself, your mind, body, spirit, just being one. and just being mindful of everything that's going on. And I feel like that's more of like a Buddhist way of life and way of
Mhm.
living, is more so spiritual. But yeah, that's something I do want to seek out eventually.
I feel like the live music stuff, the EDM stuff, I feel like people usually have some sort of spiritual attachment to that, or
Yeah.
at least they think they do. I feel like,
Well, yeah,
like
psychedelic.
your favorite moment at your favorite show. I mean, did you not feel
Yeah,
some bigger connection to something bigger
but
than yourself?
that goes back to the same thing. Like, how do you define what feels spiritual versus what feels physical? Like, you can just have a moment of awe and just completely be in bliss at what's happening. But is that spiritual, or is that just like bliss of the experience itself? Like, I just don't know how to define, like, you can say something was spiritual, but I feel like it's more of a hip term
Yeah.
to say, dude, oh shit, that was so spiritual, bro. But it's like, it, dude, no, like,
No, you're so right.
people throw that shit around.
I be saying that shit.
Right? Yeah.
I'll eat like a sandwich. I'll be like, bro, that was spiritual, man.
Yeah, dude, people throw it around like it's nothing. Like, bro, like, you shouldn't
Yeah.
though. Like you should only like really mean that shit. Like,
No, you're
and
right.
I mean, yeah, like at festivals, I mean, my favorite moments in life, like I'll say probably like 7 out of the top 10, just as a guess, are probably at a festival when I'm completely in awe of just life and how I'm here right now and just everything that goes into it. And I feel like just feeling a collective connection with people around me brings me that,
Yeah.
versus spirituality is found within, which I feel like I've yet to tap into.
You know the saying like fake it till you make it? Um, I feel like that's me and like my spiritual journey and like all this shit. Like I like talking about I like saying shit like that too. I like talking as if I know God is real. God did. I like talking about him, but like I feel like I haven't made up my mind up on anything. And like even all the random like theories I was just saying like 5 minutes ago, like that's probably all bullshit and wrong. I just think it sounds good. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know, ever since I got into podcasts, I've been like very focused and like interested in like what sounds fucking dope. What's interesting, like what are the most interesting in ideas? I want to talk about those, and I'm more inclined to believe the most interesting thing. So like for the longest time, like the Bible was the most interesting thing. Now we have the multiverse and aliens, all this other shit we're talking about, like, you know, but like I don't know, man. I definitely don't know anything at all.
I know. That's what you have to realize, and just go back to gratitude. Be like, I don't know, but I'm grateful.
Every time I step up to this mic, I feel like it's just a reminder that like I have no clue what anything is. Like I'm here to ask questions. I'm here to like not understand essentially so that someone else can like help me clarify what the fuck this scary, weird, overstimulating thing called life is like. And I don't know, man. It's fun to talk about, but like what the fuck? Like, what is it?
And it's funny because the more you learn just about anything in general, but more so this, the more you
Yeah,
realize you don't know. And then
yeah,
it just expands. Like, and then like you almost feel like less smart, or like feel less knowledgeable than you did as you're learning more, because you realize there's so much yet untapped.
yeah.
So it's just like, fuck, dude.
Like when I was raging hard, when I was partying like all the time and like getting drunk and like doing whatever I felt like I thought I had life figured out. Like I knew I was like, bro, this is the fuck life is the like this is what we're meant to do. This is the purpose. Like I'm a god, like whatever, like
God.
whatever the mentality was, it was just like I got this shit figured out, bro. Like I know
But
what
you're
I'm
saying
doing.
that as you're lit,
And like
probably.
as I've like cut out alcohol, as I've started reading more, as I've just like matured, as I've just like reflected on myself and grown more, I'm just like so much more unsure of like anything at all.
Yeah.
And like that's the way I guess it should be. But I know so much more than I did then. And I know
Yet
so
you're
much
more
more.
unsure now.
I've read 100 books between now and then. But like every book I read, I feel like I understand because everyone has a different fucking opinion on it, you know? an opinion in general, and then you start to like listen to one opinion, and then they start to conflict, and that's what like you listen to the religious opinion, the Christian opinion, and then the science opinion, you like that, and then it conflicted. You know what I'm saying? If you just didn't learn, if you just stayed at the religion stage and didn't learn anything else for the rest of your life, you would be like, you'd probably be more confident in what you believed in, and it would be good. But since like you may like want to try all the take, we're open minded, so we want to take in all the different types of perspectives. Like I'll read a freaking atheist book and then like the Bible, like, but I'll be open minded to both of them, and then it hurts my brain. I'm like too open minded sometimes, and then it's just like I don't know, I don't know, what's going on.
And I think that's why our parents' generation, they're more so like closed off to other ideas, and it's more ingrained for them because they didn't have the science at the time or the information access that we have. And they didn't have to question anything because there was nothing really to question from their point of view. And then as you get older, the more and more you naturally become bit like in your own ways. So that just carries over. And I feel like that's why they're so hard to just convert any other direction.
Like anyone who doesn't agree with what I just said of like, I'm not really sure of anything I'm saying, like pisses me the fuck off. Like anyone who's like, no, I know for sure. Like, and like about whatever it is, I'm just like, I'm not listening to you. Like, no, like you're just, it's just an incorrect perspective to have at this point, I think.
And like, that's what Cole would always do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he had that kind of mentality towards it.
I think he's come back towards the center. Like, I think he was very into religion at that time.
Never do it in an abrasive way, but he was very confident in the fact that he was like, yes, I know this is real.
Yeah.
Like, but he wouldn't force it in any way on people.
And all Christians kind of have that to an extent of confidence in their beliefs that is good for them, but also something that I see as a flaw, not it's a bug, not a good feature of their religion. It's like I said, you should wrestle with God. You should question him, but you shouldn't not care about him at all either. Like, I think it's important to think about.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, like I said, like I'm here to talk about ideas. And when it comes to ideas, God is like the GOAT idea. Think about it. Like, who knows if he's real or not, but like, think about what idea has like plagued human beings the most, like over time. It's like this idea of God, the idea of the creator, like the idea of it is so powerful that it's like worth talking about, dissecting, thinking about, flipping over. You know, just because I think those people who think they know for sure are like annoying, like doesn't mean I don't want to talk about God too. Like I want to talk about him probably more than anything. Why do so many like motherfuckers believe in this guy? Why? Tell me, Dan.
Because they want to have an answer for what they don't know. And they want to have security that they're going to be right in the afterlife. And
security.
And they want to have a sense of purpose or a sense of like an end be all type shit where like life has to have meaning or has to have an end in sight or some like ultimatum for it to feel like it's worth living, or for there to be something external to strive to receive, which would be heaven. And like, I just think it's fear of the unknown, which is the main thing that creates religion. And but I mean, that's just a symptom of us being conscious people that can think for themselves. That's just how it goes. It's interesting.
It is, man. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up kind of soon. Like, this has been a fucking hell of a run, dude. Like, is there anything else you want to...
What time is it?
It's like 5:15, I think. 5:18.
True. Yeah, I should really get the workout.
Yeah. So Dan and I are about to... let's do like, you want to wrap up the weekend? Because we're not going to do another podcast, right? So let's do a wrap up on the weekend. All right, guys. So this could be taken out of like context from the podcast. So Dan and I are wrapping up our final podcast of our Miami week. If you've been tacking along for this long episode, we've been talking about all sorts of shit, but we're going to do like a quick reflection on just like how it's been. You know, we've had a really active, fun, just exciting week, you know, weekend here in Miami. I am doing calisthenics for the first time. Dan is embracing poi again. We're both doing yoga, just stuff that we're just not usually doing. We're just fitting in. We've done rollerblading, skating. It's just been like fucking awesome active weekend. I would just recommend anyone who plans all their trips around drinking to just do this every once in a while. Once a year, man, just like find like a whole active, maybe snowboarding or something like that. Like any sort of just activity to revolve your trip around. Like it has just been like for me so much better than just getting fucked up like the whole week. I
Yeah.
don't know about you.
I mean, way better, bro.
Yeah.
It feels because like you can embrace every moment and like you're not seeking anything to really like take you away from like like what you're here to do, because when you're just drinking during a vacation, that's the objective and that's like the focus the whole time. Like we're here to drink, we're not here to like experience real shit. We're just here to like have fun and let loose, let go of all of our inhibitions for a weekend, as opposed to like having direction and not seeking anything out to take us away. But instead of like immersing ourselves into what we're doing and trying out new things and just being here, being now.
Yeah. And I think
Sick.
a lot of times for me, like a vacation is represented like an escape from reality. And I think it's good to have that once a year. But like this is like the opposite. I feel like it's been like look reality in the eye and like, try to improve yourself, which is usually not what a vacation is all about. It's just like an escape, like a little break. And so I don't know. That's just been a whole different, it's just been different. Like it is good
Yeah.
to escape sometimes, but it's also good to not,
Yeah.
you know?
I feel like we're doing both though, because the fact that we're in South Beach and the fact that we're so free to do it, because like we wouldn't be able to do this as easily as we have been if we were in a more normal environment. But like just being here is an escape in of itself. And what we're doing is on par with reality and like what we're trying to do
Yeah.
in the future. So it's kind of both, which is pretty sick.
Like working on ourselves,
Yeah.
self-improvement stuff, but it's not, it still is an escape from the 9 to 5, even though we're working on ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's not just,
Because we're doing other things to try to like move ourselves forward at the
Mhm.
same time.
Yeah, man. So, I'm about to go hit Muscle Beach, try a muscle up for the first time. What's the vibe with that? We're gonna use a band to help me, please, right?
Well, yeah. Well, at first, when you're fresh, I'm going to try to have you just do it, but I'm going to try to show you how to do it with the maximum momentum you can get on the way up to get your body as high as possible. Because
Mhm.
once you get your chest over the bar, it's just a dip. So it's like we want to focus on getting your chest over the bar. And at first, you need to use your legs as momentum. So that's when you raise your knees up to get your body higher. So I'm going to try to have you do it like that. And if you can't, then we'll use the band, or we'll probably use the band for the actual session, like when we're training.
Mhm.
But yeah, at first, I want to try to get you to just do it without a band at all.
Mhm. And then after that, we're gonna try to record some content where I'm gonna try to poi on some rollerblades, which in sounds like a terrible fucking idea. I might wipe out, who knows? But we want to just to do something fucking brazy. So hopefully, since I'm talking about it now on the podcast, it'll come to fruition. But if
I
not,
mean, bro, it's gonna be
that's
feasible for sure. I mean, and
yeah.
if you wipe out, it'll make for its own clip.
But
So,
we just wanted to do like the most like extra moment. I feel like that's it. Just poing and
but then tomorrow morning,
tell them.
oh my god! So the biggest club in Miami is called Club Space, and they're open until 11 a.m. So it's 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. every night on the weekends. I'm not sure about weekdays, but there's a show tomorrow night. Oh wait, no, tonight. There's a show tonight and it's going until 11 a.m. And there's an option when you go into the Eventbrite, there's an option to get tickets to enter after 7 a.m. So it's from 7 to 11 and it's a lot cheaper. So for the full price ticket, if you were to go right when it starts or throughout the night, it would be like $80. But for this option, it's only like $18 per ticket to enter after 7. So we're going to go to bed early and then wake up at like 6:30, we're going to get ready and then go to the club completely sober and just embrace all the chaos and whatever the fuck's going to be going on. But it's going to be sick because there's, I think, 3 artists that are pretty big techno DJs. So it's going to be like an actual rave. And I met this guy at the club last night who was like talking it up like crazy. And he showed me videos from when he was there like 2 weeks ago at 9 a.m. and shit was packed. It was popping. It was just like a movie, bro. And that's going to be the last thing we do on this trip. We just go there sober and just see what the fuck is going on. And then we're going to drive home after that. So it's going to be crazy.
Wild. Well, if for some reason you've actually listened to like all 3 podcasts and you've like are still here on this journey at the very end, like, thank you so much. Like, honestly, me and Dan opened our doors to see if anyone wanted to like tag along basically by recording so much fucking content. So we really appreciate you and are grateful if you've stayed tuned this long. And if we're just talking to ourselves, that's fine too, man, because we did this for us. It's been fun and
Be stamped in history.
yeah, bro, it's a memory for me. So that's all we're really here to do, man. Make memories, and that's it, and enjoy the moment. Yeah, so let's continue to do it.
How many?
Type shit.
Got like 6 more hours till we go to bed. Yeah. We got to make it a full 6 hours.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to do podcast type shit, and then, you know, we got some
When I'm on
muscle
that
type shit.
it makes me want to do other shit type shit because I get inspired when I'm listening to that kind of shit. And then I'm just on that type shit wave, which makes me want to do that boy type shit after the muscle up. And then I'll be feeling inspired type shit. So then it's just going, and then sky's the limit.
Say less.
Beddington Suplex Jr. to the 3rd power.
Lincoln.
Memorial. Sheeshington.
Sheesh.
Sheesh City.